Cobb, and others along the way.
Nick Foles is probably the one that stands out, right?
Yep.
He did it with Nick Foles.
And so Justin Fields is a guy that's been to a couple places and failed.
Yeah.
And now he's with the Kansas City Chiefs. He offers running ability, and we'll see what that will look like. I'll tell you this much. You know what they should bring back now?
QB sneak.
Little QB sneak in the house. Little Justin Fields, a little Fields mover. Little Fields advancer. Little Fields position.
Move down the fields 1 yard at a time.
1 yard and a cloud of dust on this Fields. Just in time for them to run the QB sneak.
What's funny is a lot of times teams go for the backup quarterback to be similar to the starter, right? Because that way it's not a huge change schematically. So, for example, you even saw Atlanta go for another left-handed quarterback. They said, let's get Tua and Michael Penix. That way they're both left-handed quarterbacks. The Chiefs went opposite. Justin Fields is not like Patrick Mahomes at all.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not similar at all.
Well, they're both black quarterbacks, so they are similar.
I guess.
There you go. But playing style, you're right.
I meant sometimes you'll be like, well, Jane Daniels and Marcus Mariota, they can both run the football very well. They'll go with that route. Justin Fields brings a different flavor. I think it's fun. I don't think they give up a lot because now that we're seeing the reports of only $3 million being the Chiefs are taking on, only $3 million. That's about the going rate for a backup quarterback. I mean, you saw what Gardner Minshew got. Was it $8 million, something like that?
He got a little too much for the Kansas City Chiefs.
And so you get Justin Fields. Yeah, you give up a sixth-rounder, but I like this move a good amount. Again, I don't know if we'll see it. We thought we might see some QB sneaks with Carson Wentz. Remember when Carson was here, we thought, a big-bodied quarterback. Blaine Gabbert. They'll do QB sneaks with him. No. Carson Wentz will do QB sneaks with him. No. Maybe they will with Justin Fields.
The last time they did QB sneaks was the Belldozer.
It was right? Blake Bell. It was a tight end.
Did they do anything with Noah Gray? Did they have other?
They may have had.
I don't remember there being another quarterback sneak since the Belldozer. I clearly am missing something. I can't imagine they wouldn't have done one QB sneak type thing like that with
at some point
tight end or something.
But Kareem was so good on the 1 yard, so it was almost like, why would you do something different? Either way, I like the move. He has been a starter for a long-ish time in the NFL. Again, not with a ton of success, but who has success with the Jets? No one. He had a nice little resurgence with Pittsburgh the year prior, which landed, I guess, 2 years, whatever it was. It landed him that 2-year contract with New York. I like this move for Casey. If you wanted a veteran backup quarterback who still has a little bit of upside and who brings a different flavor, and a guy who, if you need him to start in a pinch, can do it, this is your guy. This is exactly what the Chiefs were looking for. A former starter with experience who's had, at times, success in the NFL.
The thing about, it reminds you a little bit of, as a better player, Oladokin, in that you're hoping his ability is making some plays. But what I wonder is, if Justin Fields is the backup quarterback and Mahomes has to miss a game or two, which, again, I still don't think that's going to be the case. I am not trying to rush him. I want them to take their time with Patrick Mahomes, and only when he's been cleared by 15 different independent doctors that are paid to be incredibly skeptical, that are paid to be way more on the conservative side of if that player should play or not.
I'll do it. They call me Sterling Skeptical Holmes.
Yep. I think you're going to have to wait 4 more weeks. I still think he's going to play week 1. But if not, developing a game plan that you can utilize the quarterback's legs along with Kenneth Walker in the backfield, that you'll be relying a little bit less on the arm of the quarterback to create offense if you've got Kenneth Walker, and you can use some of those, I don't know, are they going to introduce a read option for Justin Fields, to hand it to Kenneth Walker or keep it himself and go around the edge or something along those lines? Certainly could be the case. We'll find out, though. But they were going to have a guy, we all assumed and agreed they were going to have a guy that has run an offense before and been the quarterback of a team at one point in his career. He's been the quarterback of a team in a couple of different places. I actually thought they would go get Tyrod Taylor. That was my guess. That was my preference, actually. I preferred them to go get Tyrod Taylor over Mariota or Gardner Minshew. I just think Tyrod Taylor is your perfect example of a backup quarterback that's going to simply be solid, do the job. He's not going to be overly impressive.
Yeah.
And I think he will go into a game understanding my job is to not lose the game for this team. It's to run the offense and the game plan the way that we have set up and planned this until Patrick Mahomes comes back. And we'll see what Justin Fields does, because he can go out and lose a game for you.
So I thought that was a really interesting conversation, or at least comment you had about Tyrod Taylor, and I think it was a really good one, because just at Radio Row, Super Bowl every year, what's interesting is I was talking with Tyrod, but I talked with other players, and almost every single player who's played with Tyrod said their favorite teammate was Tyrod Taylor. A lot of quarterbacks, we're talking about how, well, Tyrod did this for me, or Tyrod helped here, and they're like, oh, yeah, I saw Tyrod's here. He was a great teammate. It was a really interesting conversation of how almost all these players were saying, yeah, Tyrod's one of my favorite teammates, even if he didn't start, even if he was a backup. I just thought that was really fascinating, so that's why I became a Tyrod fan, especially when you started championing for him. The one thing I will say about Justin Fields, he's really cut back on the turnovers.
Okay.
Really cut back.
Because watching from afar, I still remember the turnovers and the bad plays.
100%. And his rookie year, 7-10. Second year in Chicago, 17-11. Third year in Chicago, 16-9. So we're getting better, right? 2024, when he was with Pittsburgh, he basically became a anti-turnover machine. He was, I'm going to only take what's there and just be super, super conservative. 5-1. His last 2 years, he hasn't played and started a ton of games. Started 15 games. 12-2, touchdown to interception ratio. 12-2. I mean, he adjusted from thinking he's still in college to I think to me turned more into that. Hey, I can be the quarterback that's not going to lose us games. It worked with Pittsburgh because that was a good team. It didn't work with the Jets because the Jets had no talent around him, so when you play like that, you're just not going to win. But you can do that in Kansas City. With the talent surrounding him in KC that we think is going to be there this upcoming season, as long as you play the Chad Henne style of football.
Yes.
I think Fields can do that with the running element now because, again, he's really cut back on his turnovers.
Yep. I do think it makes a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a low cost, depending on. So the reports are that they're taking on $3 million of the $10 million guaranteed. So he had $10 million guaranteed this year to Justin Fields. $20 million base salary, 10 of that was guaranteed. They're taking on $3 million. Now, typically when you make a trade, the base salary is all you take on. You don't take on all the guaranteed dollars from guaranteed dollars that were moved forward for a cap hit. So you would take on the salary, which is $20 million this year. And the Chiefs are only taking on $3 million of the $10 million guaranteed. What happens to the other 10, I'm not sure.
Yeah. The
$3 million, I'm going to move forward until there's more clarification that the Chiefs are only taking on $3 million. And if that's the case for Justin Fields to be the backup quarterback for the Chiefs, giving up a sixth rounder in the 2027 draft, right?
I heard 27. That was my understanding.
Yeah. And if that's not the case, we'll find it and fix it. But you bring him in for $3 million, and you've got a veteran-ish
2027 sixth-round draft pick.
There you go. 2027 sixth-rounder, which should be worse than this year's sixth-rounder. We'll find out.
Other teams were allegedly interested, according to Adam Schefter, but Fields chose Kansas City.
Is that right?
So
it's good to know.
According to Schefter, sources told him other teams were interested, but Fields' preference was to go to Kansas City.
It's good to know. Good to know. All right, 913-912-4810. The brackets have been released, revealed. We know where everybody is going. We talked about it last night on the Selection Sunday show. We've got your home for the NCAA tournament right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB starting tomorrow night and on into Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday. And the times released for the games, I'm going to fight Curtis Siebold. No, I'm joking. I will not. I'll lose. I would lose that one. Somebody put out the times and broadcasts for the first round, Thursday and Friday, and it had KU playing at 1 o'clock on Friday. And boy, the excitement I had immediately. And I'm like, you know what? I only got a show till 11:30. I may be driving to St. Louis whenever that Missouri game is a tip.
I thought the exact same thing, dude.
Apparently, the KU and Arizona games got flipped. Arizona is tipping off at 11:30 in San Diego, and Kansas is tipping off at roughly 8:45.
Dude, when I
probably
saw,
later than that because that's the second game of the 2 games in the session.
I was so bummed because now KU and Mizzou play really close together. So
yes, I mean always
the flipping.
Remember when it used to be that when you only had one channel when it was CBS, and it was like, well, Missouri and Kansas playing at the same time. Well, who's getting the main TV?
Yeah.
Now you can watch whatever you want. I mean, True TV, Missouri is going to be on True TV. KU's on CBS with Harlan. So they got a great broadcast crew. So that's pretty cool to hear Harlan on that. Sparrow Didis and Jim Spanarkel and Jim Rothstein will be on the Missouri and the Miami, Florida game. The good part about Missouri's tip being so late is that they've already made the round of 34. So that's pretty awesome, though, right? Or I guess it'd be the round of 33 because there's 31 teams that would have advanced before Missouri has played.
Yeah.
And one more team to advance. So they've made the top 33 already, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool they're already in the round of 33. So congratulations to Missouri and Dennis Gates, the Tigers, for what is a great season that you've already made the round of 33. That is awesome.
This is...
Other than I hate the tip time, and I know some others like Stephen St. John absolutely loves it. I hate being the last game of Thursday and Friday, the last game of the entire opening round of the tournament. I don't know.
I think
I'm happy they're in, by the way. So
yeah,
beggars can't be choosers, by the way.
And a 10 seed in St. Louis.
Yes,
I mean, this was
the tip time for me is the worst thing. And who really cares about when they're tipping off in the NCAA tournament? It just means that I probably won't be making the trip to St. Louis because I don't want to stay in a hotel overnight.
Correct.
I was hoping that they would be like a mid-afternoon game, and
you
then
and
be
I
done
could
at like
drive
5 or
together.
6.
It'll be like a buddy
dude.
road trip.
If it was like a 5 o'clock tip, boom, be done at 11:30. Get on the road, be there at 2. I kid.
We could have done a buddy road trip. That'd been really fun.
Watch the game, 5 o'clock, get out of there like 7:30, head back. It's a Saturday. Be a lot of fun, man. There will be a lot of people that will be at the game. It will be the most expensive ticket of any of the pods because you have, especially Sunday. Sunday's going to be nuts if 3 of the 4 play to their seed. If you have Mizzou and Purdue and Kentucky and Iowa State on Sunday in St. Louis.
Man, what a pull.
It'll be the most expensive session in the round of 32 to go to the Sweet 16 in any of these pods. There will be 7 other regions that'll be going, damn, I wish we got those teams within driving distance for everybody. You know Kentucky travels.
Yep.
Iowa State travels.
Yes.
Purdue's got, they just did what they did in the Big Ten tournament, so their fans will be there. And St. Louis is the largest Missouri alumni base in a city. And so they don't even have to travel from St. Louis to go to the games.
I will say this. I think both Kansas and Missouri got good draws. I saw some KU fans push back a little bit because of St. John's. I think St. John's probably should have been ranked higher. I just don't think they're that good of a team. Like I just don't want to play Rick Pitino in the tournament. That's the thing. I get that, but also 13, you're lucky. I thought High Point may have gone there, and if you're playing High Point, a team that puts up 90 points a game.
High Points is what High Point in Wisconsin. I didn't even look at the total. I was going to bet the over, no matter what the total was. 250 over,
still probably over. I mean, because literally, I thought High Point was going to be a nightmare matchup for Kansas. They don't get that, and then again, I ask Kansas fans, who would you rather play, St. John's or Wisconsin or Arkansas? I thought it was going to be Arkansas again, and I thought Arkansas KU, that would be a nightmare for Kansas fans.
Yeah, I think Arkansas can lose in the first or second round or go to the Final Four.
Yeah, they're going to be...
Arkansas Zona, I've got Arizona and Arkansas playing in the Sweet 16, and I would have had High Point coming out to... High Point was a team that I was going to put in the Sweet 16 depending on their draw. but I can't put them against Arkansas that scores up and down, and they are so much longer and more athletic than High Point. Like, they do what High Point does, but they're more athletic and longer and a better team overall.
A little of the same thing. Wisconsin was not a good draw for High Point because that was going to be a really fun team to root for. But yeah, Arkansas with Acuff is just absurd. But I
164.5 is the total. I'll take the
over.
Yeah, I'll take the over on that one.
I thought that this was a pretty good draw for Kansas. And by the way, Northern Iowa might take care of St. John's round one. I mean, that's a fairly tough matchup.
Yeah, we don't want to see Northern Iowa either. We've seen that before.
Oh, stop. You would much rather face Northern Iowa than St. John's.
Of course.
You don't want Ejiofor with 35-point revenge game on his mind in the round of 32.
Yeah, but as a Kansas fan, Northern Iowa scares me. In fact, that was the first game that Michael ever cried to.
You're lucky.
That was the first game you ever cried to?
Yeah.
That was it. You were 5 years old?
I'd have been like 7.
7 years old with you and I. My
It was
God.
rough. I think they were the 9 seed, either 8 or 9.
They were the 8 or 9. Yeah,
Kansas.
absolutely. Ali Faroukmanish.
Oh, I know the name well.
Do you?
You're lucky Belmont wasn't.
You didn't have Belmont and Bucknell nightmares.
Bucknell was probably the one.
The Killer Bees. You didn't have those.
I will say that for Missouri, I thought this was a great draw. Again,
Yes.
I'm not trying to be a homer here. I think Miami's a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I thought that was a fine draw. Just if it was just Miami, take St. Louis out of the equation.
Yeah.
Love it. Good draw. We talked about would you rather be an 8-9 or a 10? And we said a 10.
I said do whatever you have to do to get a 10 seed. Don't win enough to where you jump up to a 9 or an 8. Don't lose to where you drop to the first 4. Do what you can to be a 10. And they did it. Well done. Chef's kiss Missouri. And regional geographical seeding with the pods like they do. It creates these things. The closest for Mizzou, the 10 seed was open in the West. There was still a 10 seed open in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And so Missouri gets sent to the 10 seed that's closest to them because wherever they were on the 10 seed line, the other 10 seeds did not have one that was closer other than Kentucky was open. We're a 10 seed. The 10 seed Missouri was still open in St. Louis. And so that's what you end up having. When you got a couple of 2 seeds there, in St. Louis, you're going to have to. It takes a while to get around to those 7-10 matchups for who was going to be there. So yeah,
they're not playing St. Mary's, who's very Drake-like, where it's the slow rock fight style of play, which is bad news bears for Mizzou. They're local again in St. Louis, and they're not playing. They're not playing UConn. If they win, they wouldn't play UConn. They wouldn't play Houston. They wouldn't play Iowa State. They're playing Purdue.
They're playing a 3 seed.
I think Purdue is the worst of the 2 seeds.
They are. They talked about it. Keith Gill talked about it with the Selection Sunday on CBS, that Purdue was the 11th team in the tournament. So 1 through 11. That would make them 1 through 4 is the 2 seed, or 1 seed. 5 through 8 are the 2 seeds.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11. They were the third seed. And then after they won yesterday, they got moved all the way up to the 8 line, which dropped, by the way, Michigan State from a 2 down to a 3. So in the East, there are 2 2s and an arguably 1 seed
with UConn.
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got UConn's a 2 but could have been a 1. Michigan State was a 2 seed until Purdue won the game yesterday, and they dropped to a 3. You've got Kansas as a 4, and you've got St. John's that just won the Big East as a 5. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those teams. The 1 overall seed Duke, and then the next 4 teams in that region have all won a national championship with their coach.
Yeah.
With a coach that's won. St. John's not won it with their coach. The other 3 have with their coach, and then Rick Pitino has won a national title. 4 teams have won a national title in that region out of the top 5, and the only one that didn't is the number 1 overall seed in the tournament in Duke, and the smaller boozer is starting to figure it out.
Dude,
as the bigger boozer has been figuring it out since he was probably 8 years old, the smaller boozer is now becoming a real player.
The East and the Midwest, to me, are just gauntlets.
The East is ridiculous.
I think the East is really good. I think the Midwest with Michigan, I do think SLU and Georgia should be a really fun game. Tech and Akron, the Akron Zips are a really fun 12 seed. Bama and Hofstra is that's probably the best 4-13 matchup the entire game. Tennessee, we'll see who they are. Virginia's really played some good basketball in recent weeks. Virginia's that little surprising 3 seed where I think if you're out and watch a lot of college basketball, like, why is Virginia 3? And then you'd see them playing like, oh, that's why they're a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, Santa Clara, then Iowa State. I mean, I think the Midwest is not quite as good as the East, but it's close.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about some of these matchups. Keith Gill, the selection committee chair, talks about Miami of Ohio in the first 4 and making the tournament. We hear at some point today, Tommy Lloyd can just go away. Just go away, Arizona. Kelvin Sampson continuing to show why people love him. We'll hear from him as well. Rick Pitino, halftime. Dennis Gates on Missouri's resume, why they were deserving of being in the field, and also the 10 seed and heading to St. Louis. We'll go through some of the Final Four teams we have as the show goes along. Mick Schaefer will join us at 1 o'clock. Matt Tate comes up at 11 o'clock. And we will release the first region in our Bracket of Sound today. The Bracket of Sound of the 4 regions. We've got the first region. We'll do that at 1 o'clock with Mick Schaefer. We still have Learn Funniest Best, but the first region in our Bracket of Sound. We'll tell you what the region names are, and we will play 1 through 16 with our Bracket of Sound at 1 o'clock. We take a timeout. We come back. More Zone on the other side of the break. We talk Miami of Ohio getting in the tournament, Mizzou-Miami matchup, Kansas-Cal Baptist matchup. I think a really good matchup for Kansas. I think they got a team that works well for them, and we'll talk about why that is on the other side of the break. More Zone next.
It is happening. It is time. Don't panic. Let's party. Because right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. Let's get spicy. It's so much fun. It's not just for new customers. This is for everyone. Everyone, let's party. Bonus bets in your FanDuel account. Again, opt in and claim them. Don't wait. These bonus bets are available for a limited time only. So come on, what are you waiting for? Go to FanDuel.com/local or go to your app to learn more.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Missouri 1.5-point underdogs to Miami. The line has moved 2 points in Missouri's favor. Opened up at 3.5. It is now 1.5. And Kansas 13.5-point favorites yesterday. They are 14.5-point favorites at this point. So that line has moved towards Kansas as well. So both Missouri and Kansas, the money coming in on them. Which, by the way, the fact that we have lines for games that are played Thursday and Friday just goes to show that Vegas can put out lines for college basketball before the games when both teams have already played.
Yeah.
And like if on a Tuesday when the SEC plays a lot of their games and two teams play on a Tuesday and then they play on Saturday, there's no reason for that line to be out only Saturday. You can put it out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because they already have lines for games on Friday. They had them out yesterday. So they clearly can do that. But this, I guess, being a little bit different with the NCAA tournament. But the field is set. A big debate was Miami of Ohio. And I don't want to break my arm patting myself on the back, but Michael was here. We were doing the NCAA selection show last night, and Miami of Ohio, they showed, the last four in, and then they showed the first four out. And one of the things that I said was, okay, so they've listed the last four in, and then they've listed the first four out. The first two that were out was Oklahoma and then Auburn. But you also had SMU, Texas, and NC State listed along with Miami of Ohio as the last four in. And what I said on the air was, I'm going to venture a guess, and I'll bet you money that they had already decided Miami of Ohio is in the tournament. That if Oklahoma had one more win or Auburn had won one more game, they would have jumped over an SMU, a Texas, or an NC State and might have jumped to 67, but they weren't going to move up 1 to 68 and knock Miami of Ohio out. I think they decided Miami of Ohio is in the tournament. Let's just figure out where they're going to be ranked 1 through 68 or 1 through whatever the last at-large bids are. Well, let's hear from Keith Gill. He weighs in, the committee chair, Sun Belt Conference commissioner, but the selection committee chair weighs in on the discussion around Miami of Ohio getting in and being, quote unquote, when it was released, the last team in.
Miami of Ohio wasn't the last team selected into the field. So the last team selected into the field were NC State, Texas, and SMU. And in our process, when we seeded Miami, we will do a scrubbing process where we look at teams above and below each team to decide whether or not we think there are resume attributes that make a team should move one direction or the other. And through that process is where Miami ended up kind of scrubbing down, essentially to be the last at large on the seed list.
So there you go. Miami was in. They had chosen Miami to be in the tournament, and then as their, because it's the way that it's done. I've been lucky enough to do the mock selection committee in Indianapolis, which was awesome. You're there for 2 or 3 days. You get assigned a committee member that you take their responsibility, which is 1 or 2 conferences, because these committee chairs or these committee members are assigned certain conferences that they have to study and know all of the ins and outs of the teams. It's easy when it's one bid leagues. Boom, easy. This team won the conference, they're in. No other team deserves to be in as an at-large bid. We're good. But then you get some of the 5 or 6 or 7 bid leagues. You've got to know all about that league, the resumes, the teams they beat, the injuries, all of that stuff. So being in Indianapolis in the mock selection committee, you realize how the stuff is done. And in the room, you select the field. And then you figure out these are the 68 teams. And after that, every other team is eliminated. You don't go and say, well, it's 68 versus, 69. Well, I think Oklahoma, let's talk about Oklahoma and Miami of Ohio. No. Oklahoma's already been eliminated. Auburn's been eliminated. Miami of Ohio's in it. And now they do the scrubbing process. You list them 1 through 68 or 1 through whatever with your at-large bids. and then you go through and say this team versus this team. But the people that are certain conferences are the ones that are going to argue for this one bid league, why it should be a 15 over a 16, why this 16 is in the play-in game. No, this should be a 14 seed, not a 15 seed. So they go all the way from 1 through 68, every single team, and rank them. And it's interesting to hear that, no, the last team selected was SMU. Second to last team was Texas. The third to last team was NC State. Those were the last teams selected to be in the tournament. But they all ended up being ranked above Miami of Ohio, because once they're in the tournament, then you start to really focus specifically on one line or another. Okay, Miami versus NC State. Let's look at their resume. Miami didn't play anybody. NC State beat this team. Okay, we're going to move NC State above Miami. They did the same thing with Texas and SMU. They also said VCU was not in the tournament if they wouldn't have won, because they were one of the teams that was a bubble team.
Yeah.
And they said VCU was out. And they won, so they got in. So essentially that was a one-bid league. So
because they beat Dayton, I believe, right? Yeah.
So we look at, the quote-unquote scrubbing process. Miami gets in. They were one of the last 4 teams in the tournament. So they were going to play in Dayton. And I know I've heard some people, Jay Billis was not happy that Miami of Ohio got sent to Dayton. It's like they won 31 games
I'm
this
not
year.
happy by it personally.
I kind of think this is what it was created for. That it's like this team, they didn't play anybody. They won all their games. It's typically a one-bid league. They didn't win their conference tournament. Akron got in by winning the conference tournament. Are they in? Are they not? Well, let's let them prove it. They'll head to Dayton, and it's going to be a home game for them anyway. I don't think they win. America will be rooting for Miami of Ohio. I don't think they'll win. I think SMU wins that game. But I kind of feel like, Sterling, this is what the first 4 was created for. But I understand the argument of Miami of Ohio earned their way into not. If they're an 11 seed, they should be an 11 seed not in Dayton. They should be an 11 seed South Florida or an 11 seed VCU.
Yeah, that's where I'm at here. Again, I know there's some actually benefits of being a last 4 in, because you can also win that game where, let's say you're a 16 seed, you're not beating Duke, but you might beat Lehigh if you're Prairie View A&M, right? Like, there are some, and you get some extra money, right? Because you win that game, you're a standalone game. I actually understand some of the 16 seeds that you almost want to be the last 4 in or be in there playing, because you have a chance to win a NCAA tournament game. You're not going to beat Duke. Miami, to me, you go 31-1. I don't care what league you're in. You got. I get the thought process of who do they play, but then what's the point of them even having a regular season? What's the point of them playing those games? What's the point? There's no benefit. Just throw in Auburn and all these other schools then. Put them in there. Because, and this is where it comes to expansion of the tournament that really frustrates me is, it was like, well, then they would be in if they expand it. Maybe, but they care more about the Oklahomas and Auburn's getting in. It's just going to be the middling. Cincinnati would have got in. West Virginia would have gotten in. And that's where my frustration lies is NCAA, March Madness, the best part is the underdog stories. You know what I woke up to and watched this morning? The first thing on Twitter.
I don't know.
Golke of Oakland hitting 10 threes against Kentucky.
Yeah, I hated that. I had 3 Kentucky players on the court. Whatever.
Not you, but how much fun was that? Because you remember that.
Yeah, I hate it even more because now Calipari's at Arkansas.
But like, honestly, how much did that change? If he didn't hit those threes, is Calipari still there? And
if Kentucky with that team, with Dillingham and a little shooter that's now with
Knippel.
No. Knippel was Duke, but the little small. He was a lottery pick.
I know who you're thinking. Yeah, the guy who went to Houston.
Yes, Houston Rockets. Either way, I probably should know it since following his high school career and everything. But anyway, that team might have made a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8, and Calipari's not fired then, right? He's not going to Arkansas.
But that's what makes
it's crazy.
That to me is what makes it so much fun.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of Miami, Ohio basketball. Once they started doing well, it was fun to watch. They're not a great team. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna try and argue, but they win all these close games. Every game they play is almost eerily close, and they find ways. They have great ball movement. They're not big. They can somewhat shoot. I think if you go 31-1, and no matter what league you're in, you should not be a Final Four or a last 4 in. That to me is absurd.
The issue you run into though is if they weren't in the first 4, they would have to be a 10 seed. Because, and this is where, hey, we can argue about what the rules are.
I'll be honest. You know what? Here, how about this? For me to be completely transparent, so this
Yeah.
is not a homer. They should be a 10 over Missouri. Do I think Missouri would be favored over Miami, Ohio? Yes.
Yeah.
But they went 31-1. If you want to, there's
That's
me
what
being,
it would be. It would take Miami of Ohio being a 10 seed because of the rules of the tournament that a conference winner, you take the 4 lowest ranked automatic bids, go to Dayton,
Yeah.
and the 4 lowest ranked at-large bids go to Dayton. So VCU and South Florida couldn't go. They're 11 seeds. They can't go to Dayton. They won their conference tournament. They were automatic bids. So then you would have to then have Miami of Ohio above VCU and Dayton, or VCU and South Florida, and then the next one, the last 10 seed, was A&M. So then A&M and Miami of Ohio would be flipped, and A&M would be going to, it wouldn't even be Missouri, it would be A&M going to the first 4 to face off against SMU, and Miami of Ohio would be a 10 seed facing off against St. Mary's with the right to play Houston.
My point was just
Yeah.
if you want to be unbiased, I'll
I
even
get
say
it,
I
for
think
sure.
that if you wanted to, I would flip Missouri and Miami, Ohio. I'd flip obviously A&M, Miami, Ohio. I'd probably flip Santa Clara, Miami, Ohio.
SMU 7.5 point favorites, by the way, over Miami. And I think SMU wins the game.
I think SMU wins. I think it's probably.
I think
close than
SMU's
that.
got a chance to go to the Sweet 16, but we'll see what happens with that. Tennessee could certainly go. There's always like one, or it seems like every other year, or it was like 3 or 4 years in a row that a play-in team ended up making the round of 32.
Yeah.
I think SMU has a chance to make the round of 32, and Virginia go on and make the Sweet 16. But
They average 84 a game, and Miami 90 a game. I mean,
no, it's going to be a fun game for sure. But we'll see what Miami of Ohio will look like, and people have been arguing who they've played, who they haven't played, etc. This will be the best team they have played all year, and we'll see if they can go and win that particular game. Kansas gets the toughest region. Missouri gets St. Louis. But that's where, the selection committee decided a while ago when they wanted it to be easier for fans to travel for the different pods. For the most part, it's not going to be easy for every fan to travel. KU going to San Diego and St. John's going to San Diego. You got some teams that are pretty far away from San Diego, but you also have Cal Baptist that's 90 minutes away from San Diego. So KU is playing a team that has to travel 90 minutes to go to that arena. So it will be anybody that's there with St. John's, Northern Iowa, or Cal Baptist will be rooting against Kansas in that game. Because if St. John's wins, because they play before Kansas, the St. John's fans will wait around and root for Cal Baptist. If Northern Iowa wins, the Northern Iowa fans will wait around and root for Cal Baptist. So now, whoever loses that game, maybe if Northern Iowa loses to St. John's, hey, we've made the trip here. Let's watch some basketball. We'll stay around. St. John's fans maybe not want to stay around. Be like, peace out. We lost in the first round. Again, we are leaving. We're gone. But if St. John's wins, you might get UNI fans to stay around and root for Cal Baptist, root for the underdog. So it will be closer to a road game for Kansas. There's no getting around that. Just as it'll be a road game for Miami on Friday night. But, win the game. Just because Missouri's playing in St. Louis doesn't mean they're going to win the game. I mean, it would be perfectly Mizzou to get the worst number 2 seed and play in St. Louis as a 10 and then lose to the 7.
It would be just Mizzou finally catches a break, and then they're like, hey, what if we just squander this?
But when they decided to go with the regional seeding and the geographical, location preferences, it's how you get these particular regions in the East that add up to a 31 instead of a 34. If you did your traditional snake draft or, seeded them by the one number 1 overall team plays the number 5 overall team, or plays the number 8 overall team, I should say. Number 4 plays number 5, right? And on down the line, the top 4 seeds would equal 34 points. Because 1 plus 8 is 7, and then you've got 9 and 16, and then it goes to, ultimately you get to 34 points with the top 4 seeds. Okay? So 16, 8, 9, and 1 would be one region if you're going by strictly the snake. But the East adds up to 31, which means they are 3 spots tougher than what it should be. The West is 37. The rules in the NCAA tournament bracketing principles, you cannot have regions that are more than 6 points apart. So 37 and 31.
That's the max.
That's the max you can have. And because of geography and also bracketing principles where teams can't go with their conferences in different regions, you end up getting the number 1 overall team, the number 2 seed, the top 3 seed, and then you get Kansas. Now, they will only have to play one of those teams out of the top 4 seeds, and that'll be in the Sweet 16. But it's still that region overall. That Michigan State's a 2 seed. UConn could have been a 1. Duke is the number 1 overall team. Kansas at one point was a 3 or a 2.
I'm sure Kansas
St.
actually.
John's.
St. John's and Kansas almost should be flipped.
I mean, in a way, it could be. Wouldn't matter. It's just a matter of
the way KU finished, the way St. John's finished.
It's just a matter of what color jersey you're wearing, white or road or home jersey. You're wearing the dark jersey, you're wearing the white jersey. We'll see. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. More Zone next. All right, men, if you're out there and you are suffering from erectile dysfunction, maybe it happened once, you laughed it off, no big deal. Well, Heartland Men's Health is here to tell you that it can be a big deal. Maybe it's happened a couple of more times, and you just need to see what's going on, get it figured out. Maybe you're worried about, what it means with having erectile dysfunction. Sometimes, Heartland Men's Health will tell you that the most difficult part is just simply walking through the door and saying, let's get this figured out. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbals. You've gone that route and they failed. Well, if that happens, Heartland Men's Health has treatments that work when the pills or the herbals fail. In fact, they have treatments with success rates well over 90%. They have been successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. There's no reason to wait around and hope that it just fixes itself. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99. That includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and have medically advised the test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. If it does, there you go. They have an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, wrap it up this hour. We'll talk with Matt Tate, R1S1, Wave the Wheat. Get his thoughts on this Kansas team heading into the NCAA tournament. Their draw, they're heading to San Diego. We'll hear from Bill Self in his press conference coming up on Thursday. They get set for Cal Baptist in, let's be honest, in what will be a road game. It'll be a road atmosphere for Kansas. But no excuse when you're playing Cal Baptist. Win that game as the 4-13 and move on and get ready for either St. John's or Northern Iowa. I think it'll be St. John's, and what will be an anticipated coaching matchup of two Hall of Famers, both that have won 2 national titles, in Rick Pitino and Bill Self. So we'll talk with Matt Tate about all of those things in the Kansas Jayhawks next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Let's talk about this Kansas Jayhawk team heading out west to San Diego. We will hear from Bill Self on Thursday in San Diego with the press conference. We heard from him last night, and a man that you heard on Sports Radio 810 in the Selection Sunday show when we played the Bill Self press conference live, asking a number of those questions, is Matt Tate, R1S1, Wave the Wheat, joining us here in the zone on a Monday. Matt, what's up, brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing well, man. How about yourself?
I am doing just fine. Bill Self said, you know what? If it's not Oklahoma City or St. Louis, my preference would be San Diego. Is it the weather? Is it getting away from, the local stuff with his team and just be insulated? What do you think it is with Bill Self that if it wasn't Oklahoma City or St. Louis, and maybe he's just saying that because that's where they got sent, could have been, well, if it wasn't Oklahoma or St. Louis, I'd really want to go to Buffalo, and I'm glad we got sent to Buffalo.
Right. Yeah. No, he wouldn't have said that.
Okay. I'm in agreement. So what is the reason behind it, do you think?
I think it's, this is a time of year where it's a lot of fun. It feels special. It feels different. It feels bigger. And, when you go to Des Moines or when you go to Buffalo, last year Providence, not that those aren't great cities in their own right, but when you go to a place like San Diego, that's a freaking world-class city with unbelievable weather, and it feels special, right? It feels like a vacation. It feels like you're somewhere cool. I mean, it's one step short of the Maui Invitational in a lot of ways, right? So I realize that Kansas fans don't want to hear that, oh, they're treating it like a vacation. They're not. That's not what that means. But it means if you've got to get the bags loaded and hop on the bus and fly and take a trip, you might as well go somewhere that seems pretty cool when you get there. So I don't think he would have said that for wherever they landed. I do think that, he spends about 0.7 seconds looking at the locations and goes, yeah, San Diego, cool. All right, that's it. There's not he's not doing like some sort of voodoo magic when the bracket's being released going, I hope it's San Diego waving his beach sand in a glass or anything like that, So I don't think it's major stuff and something he worries or thinks about that much, but I do think that, this will be much more fun. I mean, even the idea of second round or third round, fourth round. I mean, some of those trips, man, I've been on all of them, that you show up to a place like Chicago or whatever, and it's snowing on you. I mean, that's not March, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it is, but it also doesn't feel like it. So I think that's all there was behind it. I think when you heard him talk more about the region itself, he'd have probably gone almost anywhere else because that East bracket is loaded.
Yes.
And San Diego in and of itself is going to be a challenge, obviously, with St. John sitting there as a possible second-round game.
Visiting with Matt Tate, R1S1, Wave the Wheat. What do you make of the draw then? Let's go with that. The East is easily the most difficult region. That being said, they would only have to play two of those teams, and the first time they would have to play one of those teams in the loaded region would be in the Sweet 16 with Duke, and then either Michigan State or UConn. But outside of the, number one overall team in the tournament, the next four seeds all have national championship winning coaches with UConn and Michigan State and Kansas and St. John's. The Johnnies are a hot team and won the Big East tournament. Michigan State was the first three, but was actually a 2. And UConn's been a 1 at most of the season, and they are the top 2. So what do you make of the draw, the East, that Kansas got sent to? And this is what we get when we've got the geographical preferences and geographical locations that they send different teams to. You have some of this disparity in weighted as opposed to the level playing field.
For sure, yeah. I think for KU, obviously, it looks like a bear. You're right. I mean, I don't think anyone's arguing today, and usually you get people arguing all over the place on Monday after Selection Sunday, but I don't think anyone's arguing that that's the toughest region. But there's something weird about it that I like for KU. I don't know that it fits the personnel. We'll see. That's sort of the thing about having a new team every year and not having 3- and 4-year guys come up in a program. You don't really know. I mean, we don't really know if Melvin Council and Trey White and Darren Peterson and Bryson Tiller, if those guys, those are all starters, obviously. If those guys are going to be energized by the challenge and would rather say, okay, bring it on, St. John's, you're hot, we're hotter. Okay, we got Duke next. We'd love that. Let's take them down. I don't know if these guys are built that way because we haven't been around them. And so in the past, when you were around guys and teams for 2, 3, 4 years, you did know. And they often took on the personality of their head coach, right? And so I've always believed that the bigger the opponent, the better it is for Bill Self's team because he understands the magnitude of that game. He understands how important that is to get his team ready. He also has the benefit of he doesn't even have to get a team hyped up to play Michigan State, UConn, Duke, right? Like those teams come with their own set of juice. And so I did a story a few years back. It might be 6, 7 years now, but there was a trend when KU was still a 1 seed every year that 8-9 game was starting to be a much, much more traditionally tough team. I mean, they played Michigan State in one of them. They played UConn in one of them. And I always thought that was better for Kansas than playing the Bucknells and the VCUs and the Northern Iowas. And obviously there's a chance they could play Northern Iowa if Northern Iowa knocks off St. John's and Kansas gets by Cal Baptist. So we're not all the way out of the woods, but if you're looking at that region as a whole, I think the fact that people are talking about how tough it is I know that benefits Bill Self. It's just a matter of, can he communicate that and then put that into his team and his players so that it benefits them when it's go time. And that remains to be seen. There's certainly at least enough of us and enough of them that we've seen that makes, people believe, yeah, they're probably going to be up for that. But we also saw them play Houston the other night, and they didn't play very well, and they certainly weren't up for that. So would you rather be in an easy region? I guess. But in some ways, I think that the tougher the challenge, the better it is for a Bill Self coach team, by and large, and historically speaking. It remains to be seen if that's true with this team.
So Bill Self talked last night and said that, if you're going to play Saturday, you might as well go out and win the game. If you're not going to win on Saturday, then, it's not the worst thing to lose on a Friday. Maybe not lose the way that they did, as he said, but losing on that Friday, that you get the extra day of rest. He also said he likes it being Friday because, again, it's an extra day of rest. So a couple of extra days that they got by not playing on Saturday and not playing on Thursday. What do you make of that? And he specifically talked about Melvin Council, which I thought was interesting, that said Melvin is just physically and emotionally, mentally, I should say, physically and mentally fatigued from the season, and he's such an energy giver. So what did you think of Melvin Council being specifically talked about by Bill Self of he's the one that may benefit the most by not playing Saturday and not playing Thursday?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with him. And you mentioned that you heard me asking some questions, and that gave Coach Self a chance to clown me because Melvin was my next question, and of course he said sure it was.
Sure it was, Matt. But, sure it was. That was funny.
But it truly was, for everyone listening, it truly was. And the reason was I spent a fair amount of time with Melvin in the locker room after both of those games, the win over TCU and the loss to Houston. And the reality is he wasn't the same dude we've seen all year. For one, he took those losses really hard. I wrote a story on, I guess it would have been Saturday morning, that had him flat out saying, like, I let my team down. I'll take the blame for this one. I didn't bring it. And that's not him. That was weird to me. And he's so happy. He's got that signature smile. He brings energy even in the worst of times. I mean, he did shoot 1 for 14 in that game, so I get why he was down. But he's had plenty of off shooting nights where he's still found a way to impact by, just finding other ways to compete and be intense and be intentional and all those things. And he just didn't have that in the Big 12 tournament. I didn't really uncover. I mean, he tried to downplay it a little bit, and good for him because there's no sense to make a big deal out of it going into this time of the year. But I didn't really uncover why. I don't know if it was, okay, this feels different now. This is the postseason. There's more on the line, or there's more eyes on it, or whatever it is. I don't know. He didn't really get into that too much, but it was a dude that seemed very, very different to me than the guy we've seen all year, both on the court during game time and then, of course, in the locker room talking to him. So I wasn't surprised at all that he brought him up, and I think he nailed it. I mean, I think a reset would be good for all these guys right now, but certainly for Melvin Council, who does feel the weight of the leadership responsibility. He's talked all year about being the keys to the car, right? And he likes that role. But after 30-some games, and having to start that thing every night, it can be tough. So giving him a chance to breathe a little bit, to take a break, to get refocused, get re-energized, and obviously to sit there and think about how for him, most likely, obviously there's still distant hope that maybe he could come back another season. I don't think that'll happen. It would be cool if it did because KU would love to have him back, and he'd love even more to be here. But, it's an opportunity for the next few days, and he's already probably done it a little bit, to sit here and realize, okay, man, this is it for me. This is my last crack at college basketball. This will be my last handful of games putting on a Kansas uniform, which has meant the world to him. And so the reset, I think, will be good and productive and healthy for him. And ideally, that would be the same case for everyone on that roster. Again, it remains to be seen how that goes man by man. But for Melvin, I don't think there's any doubt that he'll be ready to go. And he understands more than anyone on that team what his responsibility is and what his role is. And I'd be shocked if he doesn't come out, opening 2 minutes of that game against Cal Baptist, just absolute hair on fire, looking like a madman, trying to impact the game and really put them away in 2 minutes with just how hard and intense he plays.
Is Bryson Tiller going through the same thing? Because, I mean, as of late, he's been really struggling to be engaged in the games. I mean, he had a good game against Houston, but then that Arizona swing left a lot to be desired for Bryson Tiller. A good game against TCU, rough game against Houston. It's really that TCU is the lone game since that Houston game that he's played well. Bill Self said last night, asked about the conversations with him, and he's like, "We've been talking all year. I'm not going to get mad at the kid because he's not playing up to standards. He needs to take a next step, and he knows that." Is that one of the keys to if Kansas were to get hot and go on a run, that Bryson Tiller, like we talk so much about Darren Peterson, but Bryson Tiller seems to be a big factor in this team's success, that when he is playing well and engaged in the game, it can take Kansas to another level.
Yeah, man, I think it's quite possibly the biggest factor. I think with everybody else, you know what you're going to get. And, again, we just talked about Melvin shooting 1 for 14, so, law of averages says he's not going to shoot that again. He could, but, that's sort of an outlier and not really who he is and not really what you worry about. Sometimes shots don't fall, but you know who he is. You know who Darren is. At this point, for better or worse, we know who Darren is and certainly what he's capable of. And big key for him has always been, is he out there? Well, he's been out there. So there's less unknown around him. And then Trey White's been pretty steady. He had the little slump there, but my God, he was really good before that, and he's really found his way out of that lately. None of them played well against Houston, so that's important to remember. And then who am I missing in the Flory. Yeah, Flory's had an all Big 12 monster type season, and he's got to bring it too. I mean, it can't just fall on Bryson Tiller. If Bryson has to play bigger than probably he is, and probably than he wants to, because he's more of a perimeter oriented big man, and he's a good shot and he can handle the ball, and that's his future. So he's really filling a role that Kansas needs him to fill, and he's playing out of position a little bit to do it, but that doesn't mean he can't do it. And I think that's where expectations are with him. I mean, this isn't, we need you to do this for 3 games and we just told you about it. This is what they've been talking to him about since, boot camp. Mm-hmm. So he should understand that. I do think he's aware of it. I just think it's not easy. It really isn't. I mean, he's more comfortable doing those other things, and so he really has to lock in and talk to himself and talk himself up and convince himself even that okay, this has to be my focus tonight. I got to be big. I got to be strong. I got to rebound. I got to take up space. And he's done that. I mean, he's had some really good stretches and some really good games. So obviously everyone knows he can, but I think it's so critical for this team because when he does, everything else kind of falls in place around it. And I don't want to say it's a bonus or a luxury, but it does kind of feel that way because if those other guys are doing what they can do and what their roles are and filling them, to even B+ potential, if Bryson's bringing his A game, that just makes the rest of that look so much better. So I do agree with you. I think he's got to be really good for them to make a run. And he doesn't have to do anything above his head. He doesn't have to go get 20 and 15 or anything like that. He's 12 and 8 would be really good. 10 and 10 would be really good. I mean, he just has to be a presence. He has to be engaged. And I will give him all the credit in the world for what he just went through in that second half against Houston. Obviously didn't start, didn't play. And that's tough, man. I mean, that's really tough. And he sat there and it wasn't, I was 20 feet from the bench the whole game, I think. I watched him a lot, and it clearly wasn't a picnic for him. He wasn't having a blast. But he didn't show bad body language. He got up in the timeouts. He didn't become a distraction. He wasn't pouting. And then afterwards in the locker room was even better. He stood up. He didn't hide in the showers. He took questions from reporters in waves. I mean, the first wave, we got over there, and we were asking him how that felt and, what was said and all those things that suck to answer, right? And then a second wave come and started right over at the beginning. And he stood there, and he handled himself very well, and he's still a young dude. So I was impressed by that. I respected it. I appreciated it. And I think that early indication that he got it in him to move forward and to move past that. So we'll see if he does. Mentally, that's a big part of it, but then he does have to go out and produce too. So, there's a lot on his plate, but he's also got nothing to lose. I mean, at this point, it doesn't get worse than that second half against Houston. So go out, have fun, play hard, and see what happens.
Matt Tate's our guest, R1S1, Wave the Wheat. I want to get your thoughts on this Cal Baptist team. I had talked about last night and then again this morning. I think it's a good matchup for Kansas because nothing against Cal Baptist and Rick Croy, but it kind of feels like they're a lesser version of Houston. Like they slow the game down. They play really hard-nosed defense. They're one of the best defensive teams in America. They don't shoot threes. They don't allow the other team to shoot threes. The difference being Houston is one of the best shot-blocking teams in America, and Cal Baptist is not. They are one of the best charge-taking teams in America. Like Rick Croy is known for all of his charge drills and causing offensive fouls. They're one of the best teams in turning other teams over without stealing the basketball. So I like the matchup because Kansas, while it wasn't a great game, by the way, it wasn't like, oh, look what they did to Houston, and Houston plays sort of the same style. I like the matchup because they just played a game like this against a long, tough, physical team that will not allow you when you get to the inside to get a clean look, and they're playing a similar team that wants to slow it down, not shoot threes, limit the possessions, and play a game in the low 60s or high 50s.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts at all. I mean, I'll be honest. I mean, it was when I saw it, I thought, well, that's about as good as it can get. Outside of the 1-16 matchups that we've seen all along, throughout the years, it doesn't really get much better than this. And part of it is exactly what you just said, the style and pace of play and things of that nature. Part of it is I really think that this team, if you're looking at a lot of those, first-round matchups in the 3-4-5 type range where, one thing goes another way and Kansas gets a different draw, there are a lot of them that I would have thought, KU could be in trouble. I mean, this team, because of its inconsistency all year and obviously because of not playing great in the Big 12 tournament and sort of limping to the finish with that last 10 games, I would have put this team as vulnerable in a first-round matchup with just about anybody. But this is one I don't see them as vulnerable in. And, again, it's because of that style and because of the strength. And, the charge thing's really interesting because I do think, KU likes to attack and they want to play fast. And if they're able to get some charge calls on Melvin and Darren, I mean, that could be problematic for Kansas for sure. But that's pretty easy to adjust to, too. So I like the matchup. I think KU should feel pretty comfortable in it. I think it's great that they don't have to worry about this being a team that can kill them from the outside because that's what everybody thought. Jason, I even saw on Twitter people were saying, well, this team's going to kill us from three-point land. And I'm like, well, I don't think so. I really don't. But I think it was like that ever-present fear that Kansas fans have of that guy who's made 2 threes all year or taken 2 threes all year, and he shows up and he makes 5 against KU in a tournament game. I understand the Kansas fan psyche when it comes to that stuff, and so I do think that probably was where a lot of that was coming from. But man, you could say that about any team, right? So I just don't think that it's worth worrying about it as a real concern, and I don't think it is. I think Kansas matches up really well, and in fact, I think in a lot of ways, maybe St. John's isn't a great matchup, and that one looks really, really tough. But after that, if it's Duke, if it's UConn, they've played those teams, and they played both of them without Darren Peterson, and they played both of them well, and they could have beat both of them. So there's something about that. As much as we were talking earlier about the hardest draw and all that stuff, there's also a benefit to that, knowing, like, man, we played these guys pretty tough, and we didn't even have our guy. So mentally and from a psychological perspective, I mean, I think if it gets to that, there could be an advantage Kansas there in a big way, but it remains to be seen if they get there. And so obviously the first game, it's all about dictating style and executing and playing your game, and if Kansas does that, they'll be fine. But I do think Bryson Tiller and Flory especially have to be big.
All right, last one for you. How far do you have them?
Right there, second round. I think St. John's is tough, man. I think, and I heard Wally Zerbiak talk about that on his bracket breakdown after the selection show, and it was the weirdest thing I've ever heard because he just sort of matter-of-factly, okay, I've got Duke, and then I've got TCU, and then, okay, I'll take Duke there. And then, okay, so Kansas, St. John's. St. John's just too tough for Kansas. And he just moved on. That wasn't like a revelation to him. And, so be it. I don't think he's wrong. I don't think it's unfair. I don't think it's being overly critical. I don't think any of that. I just think that for years and years and years of Bill Self basketball and Kansas teams under Bill Self being the tougher team and priding themselves on toughness, for us to hear on national television a guy say, they're not tough enough. I mean, maybe that's something. They're not going to play Wally Zerbiak in the freaking locker room or anything like that. But, maybe that's something that this team can tap into. And maybe that's a way he can get through to those guys and say, like, everybody thinks you guys are soft. Go show them. Let's see. And Bill Self's a master motivator. We all know that. So I do think he's got that in him to bring that out of these guys, and we've sort of been waiting for it all year. But we've also seen it. I mean, beating Iowa State, Houston, and Arizona, yes, it was at home, but beating those teams anywhere is no small feat. And so this team knows what they can do. It's just a matter of can they do it consistently. So I think 90% of the world is going to have them losing to St. John's in that game. And so put me in that 90%. I think it's a tough out. But if they can get past that, I think that might be where getting to the second weekend, playing with house money, now you're absolutely the underdog the rest of the way with nothing to lose. You get Duke, you get UConn. I mean, I've said for weeks now that you could talk me into any outcome with this Kansas team. You could talk me into losing the first round, and you could talk me into a national championship appearance. And, I don't know if I believe the first round thing anymore, but I still do think anything's possible for these guys.
We'll see what ends up happening. Matt Tate, R1S1, Wave the Wheat. Matt, you're the man. Very much appreciate the time. As always, brother, enjoy San Diego. And next week, we'll see if we're talking about this team playing yet another weekend. Thank you, brother.
Sounds good, man. You have a good one, and I'll be around if they are. Take care.
Absolutely, man. You too. There's Matt Tate, R1S1, Wave the Wheat. He's got them going to the round of 32. St. John's is a difficult team, tough team. They will be playing a tough team defensively in the first round in Cal Baptist. Let's take a time out, come back. Let's talk about that. Kansas taking on Cal Baptist, Missouri taking on Miami of Ohio, St. Louis, San Diego, the two places the teams will be heading. We'll talk a little bit about those things and more as we discuss the NCAA tournament. The Kansas City Chiefs have made a trade for Justin Fields. He is their backup quarterback for next year now. They give up a 2027 sixth rounder, and they take on $3 million of the cap for Justin Fields this year. We'll take a timeout, come back, more Zone next.
Listen up, because this is awesome. FanDuel is offering an early win on your pre-live moneyline bets for college basketball when your team goes up 10 points and it stays a win, no matter how the game ends. Did you understand that? Because this is awesome. Win or lose, if your team takes a lead of 10 or more points, then boom, it's a win for you. And don't forget, with FanDuel, you get paid instantly when you win. While Jason was out there talking some Kansas basketball, where was I? Old boy was on FanDuel. Old boy was on there getting stuff. I checked it today. Little bonus bet in my account. It's just that simple. So what are you waiting for? Go to the FanDuel app right now or visit FanDuel.com/local to get started. You don't want to miss this because you can bet the bracket with FanDuel right now.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Tokens are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including token expiration, market requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thanks to Rusty Price for being a D.
What?
I don't remember saying that Mizzou is playing Miami of Ohio, ever, by the way, since I talked about it on Selection Sunday last night, Mizzou playing Miami. We've talked about Miami of Ohio in the tournament, why they're in the tournament, how they're in the tournament.
They're 31-1 and
but
what happened?
I don't know. He lets me know, hey, dumbass, Mizzou's playing Miami Hurricanes, not of Ohio. Apparently, you live in a trailer.
Obviously, I mean, that's
all right. You seem like a good dude, man. You seem like a real fun guy to be around.
real adjusted person.
Clearly, you've got your priorities in line there, bud. Good for you.
You know
man.
what? I wish Missouri was playing
Me too.
Miami, Ohio.
They definitely beat them.
Fun. Maybe.
Definitely beat 'em.
I don't know.
Yeah, came in 6 minutes ago. So anyway, Missouri taking on Miami that we've been talking about. I don't know, since last night when the Selection Sunday show was on and I was on talking and breaking down the Mizzou-Miami game. Sorry, you don't understand the difference between them. Rusty. All right, we continue. We will we'll hang out with Mick Schaefer coming up in the 1 o'clock hour. We've got our first region in the bracket of sound coming your way.
Ooh.
In the 1 o'clock hour. We will release that. Dennis Gates talked last night. Bill Self talked last night as well, as they had their opponents, as Dennis Gates will be playing Miami. Florida!
Ow.
You jackass.
Wow, Jason. Don't let him get to you.
I'm not. I'm just letting him know.
I know you're right.
I'm just letting him know.
Everyone else knows you're right.
I'm just letting him know who they're playing.
Ah.
That's right. And then they're playing Purdue of Ohio in the second round if they win. Or they play Queens of Ohio in the second round. if
Also,
Queens of
shockingly,
Ohio
Queens,
wins.
that might be my learn. Queens was not in New York.
North Carolina Queens.
Yeah, that may be my learn.
The Queens of North Carolina facing off against Purdue. You know what? Let's go Queens, North Carolina. Win that game. That'd be great, especially if Mizzou can knock off Miami. Florida. Miami of Ohio will be playing in Dayton. I want to talk about the matchup a little bit as Mizzou gets ready for Miami, Florida. And I appreciate him letting me know because, boy, the breakdown I've been doing with Missouri versus Miami of Ohio, it's crazy, all the work. And now I'm just shocked, really taken aback that they're playing the Miami Hurricanes. This is a real surprise. It was also random that we are going to talk to C.Y. Young, assistant coach of Miami, who coached at Missouri for a long time.
Yeah.
And was one of Dennis
That was
Gates'
just
best
random.
friend. We're randomly going to talk with him on the show tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm glad that we randomly set that up.
Yeah.
So that happens to be the team that now Missouri's playing.
I'm
Apparently.
just emailing him for just for
Weird.
fun.
Yeah,
just, just for funsies.
You're going to the tournament too. You guys were in the tournament. You as assistant coach with Mizzou for a long time, and Dennis Gates. So what do you think about Miami facing off against whoever you guys are playing? Clearly not Missouri. Kansas and Cal Baptist, Missouri and Miami. We talked a little bit about Kansas and Cal Baptist there with Matt Tate and why I like the matchup for Kansas and that they're playing a lesser version of Houston. They just played that game. They just got beat down by Houston by 22. They took care of Houston earlier in the season, but it is a defensive-minded, slow the game down, low possessions, don't shoot a lot of threes, keep the other team from shooting threes, great defense inside the arc. They aren't a team that blocks a lot of shots like Houston is. They're a team that likes to take a lot of charges, so induce you to getting a little out of control, and then, their defensive rotation apparently is really good. So we'll see what happens in that game, but Kansas just played that style of game against a much better team. The Power 4/5 conference team that Cal Baptist played this year was BYU. They lost by 31 to that particular team.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens in this one, but I think Kansas should be fine. They've played this style of game before. They also have guys that can grab the rebound and go and beat the other team down the floor, especially with Melvin Council, Darren Peterson getting to the rim. I think this is a good matchup for the Kansas Jayhawks. Missouri and Miami is a really fascinating one because Miami is a team that just wants to create a boxing match. And I think, we've talked about Sean Phillips a lot. This is a pretty crucial game because Miami is so tough in the paint, so tough rebounding the basketball. This has to be a big Sean Phillips game. If this is Sean Phillips playing great, emotional, in control basketball, Missouri can and I think should win this game. If this is Sean Phillips getting to early foul trouble and sometimes getting lost and not being in position to grab the rebound, you're talking about one of the best offensive and defensive rebounding teams in America in Miami. They don't shoot a lot of threes.
Which is good because Missouri doesn't guard the three-point line.
Exactly.
A lot of open threes.
Yeah, and they try not to allow the other team to shoot threes, but when the other team shoots threes, they're pretty good. Miami's not that great in defending the three-point line. This is a team that wants to make it a slugfest. Mm-hmm. And on one hand, Sterling, I'm like, okay, so if they call it close, that would be good for Mizzou because Mark Mitchell gets to the foul line a lot. Miami has no bench. These are two teams that have very limited bench minutes. So Miami has essentially no bench. Missouri has 7 guys, but sometimes 6 if Jacob Cruz isn't knocking down a shot. Sometimes is unplayable. But Mark Mitchell is so good at getting to the free throw line, and he can put other teams into foul trouble, which with a smaller bench can help. But if they're calling it that close, that's a detriment to Sean Phillips.
Yeah.
If they're letting him play, good for Sean Phillips, but plays into the hands of Miami that wants it to be a boxing match, that wants it to be a slugfest in the paint. Typically in the NCAA tournament, fewer fouls are called. They have a lot of letting him play, letting him feel it out the first 5-10 minutes of the game. I do wonder what the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game will be like because if Missouri comes out and if they are not ready for the physicality of Miami, they could fall behind early. They got surprised by Tennessee's physicality. Remember Dennis Gates said that after the game. Well, we got really surprised and caught with Tennessee's physicality, how physical the game was. They weren't calling a lot of fouls, and Missouri was frustrated with the lack of foul calls going on. And they fell behind by 10. They fought back. They won that game. It was a home crowd. It'll be a home crowd on Friday as well. But they fought back and won that game. You would hope, Sterling, that the experience of Tennessee can lead into helping them against Miami, Florida, on Friday in a physical match like that they'll be ready to play that style of game.
Well, again, who does that help? I think it helps someone like Anthony Robinson. Right? Like Anthony Robinson can now, if that's the way it goes, we saw him. I'm trying to remember what game it was that the refs were like, hey, we're going to let you guys be physical.
I think it was that Tennessee game.
It was the Tennessee, and he played great, and he was just everywhere. And T.O. Barrett, to an extent, could do the same thing. They let him play physical. Mark Mitchell is a great finisher, so even if they're not calling a lot of fouls, Mark Mitchell, how many and ones does Mark Mitchell have?
He's yes.
An asinine amount. I mean, between Mark, and I think the physicality helps Missouri because Missouri's not a great free throw shooting team to begin with. So even when they get to the line, it's not like it's a huge benefactor. I like Missouri. This is not me trying to be a homer because I try my best to be as unbiased as possible.
Yeah.
I really do. But this should be a fairly good matchup for Missouri. Is why I was thrilled. Hey, I'm a Missouri alum. I'm typically pessimistic.
Yeah.
It's what we don't get nice things. You, as a Missouri fan, we don't get nice things. You give teams 5 downs. You get UCLA to get a game winner on you, and you get nonsense. We get nonsense traditionally. Mm-hmm. But no, you get Miami in St. Louis. It would be Missouri if they lost this game. It was Missouri last year when they lost to Drake.
Yep.
But this, to me, feels like a good matchup on paper. I said it last year and it didn't work. But what's it?
Don't do the Sterling stuff. Don't.
I will not on this one. I can't do it.
Okay, good.
But like Uday against Sean Phillips.
Yeah.
Sean Phillips should be able to be fine in this one. Hopefully, he doesn't drop
Reno is one of the best points in the paint.
Well, and Reno is very good, but Missouri has Mark Mitchell to counteract that.
Yeah,
right. So the best strength for Miami can be neutralized to an extent by Mark Mitchell. Yeah. Again, stay out of foul trouble, Mark. But we haven't seen him get in a ton of foul trouble to begin with this year.
The odd part is that you have two of the worst free throw shooting teams in America facing off against each other.
Yeah.
So free throws are going to be pretty vital in this game as well. So that'll be of interest. But how about Hunter Dickinson having a role in the Mizzou and the potential Sunday KU matchup? Because Hunter Dickinson gets to Kansas, Zuby transfers to St. John's, and Uday transfers to TCU. Because Hunter Dickinson gets to Kansas, and now you've got Miami's got Uday, and St. John's has Zuby. That matchup on Sunday could be KU versus Zuby, more of a revenge type thing there. But just the randomness of if Hunter Dickinson doesn't get to Kansas, what's St. John's look like right now with Rick Pitino without Zuby?
True. And what's interesting with this Miami team, with the ACC being so big, you don't play every single team, which is fairly dumb for being a conference. Like, what are you doing here, guys? They didn't play Duke. They played Virginia once, and that was in the tournament, and they got smacked.
22 they lost by.
Got smacked.
They beat Louisville without Michael Brown.
Split with Louisville.
Yep.
I guess they played Virginia earlier in the year, and they lost by 3. So I didn't see that one. They did beat North Carolina, but it wasn't like they were sitting here playing, the Dukes. Two at North Carolina. They lost to Clemson.
They're 4-6 against Ken Palm top 50 teams.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think they're a fine team.
North Carolina at home, NC State on the road, SMU on the road, and Louisville neutral site.
We're not talking great wins there. Missouri has the Missouri beat Florida. They lost to Florida by 14.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the only?
Yeah.
I think that's the only. Mizzou lost to Ole Miss.
Notre Dame on the road. They both went to Notre Dame. Miami won by 12.
Yeah.
Mizzou lost that
without Trent Pierce and without
for sure
Jaden Stone.
Absolutely. That's part of it. But it's one of the best rebounding teams in America.
Yeah.
And Missouri at times struggles to rebound the basketball. So this is one of those to where you may get a defensive stop, but possessing the basketball to end the defense, that possession is going to be just as crucial as forcing a bad shot. Is going to be just as crucial as the second shot and third shot is going to be something that you'll be watching for in this game, because that's what Miami does. Second chance points, offensive rebounds, points in the paint. That's where they dominate. Defensive rebounds. They won't allow a lot of second chance either.
Yeah.
So your first shot needs to be something that's a good shot, and Missouri has had a tendency early in games to waste possessions.
Very much so.
You can't get caught by the physicality, not boxing out, and wasting possessions early.
Well, and I think what's interesting just in general in this matchup, I hate the zone that Dennis Gates runs.
Well, Jesus, man, you're a part of it.
Oh,
Dennis Gates zone. Okay, sorry.
I made sure I said Dennis Gates zone.
Appreciate it.
But if there was ever a time to do it, it's against this team.
Mm-hmm.
You got to box out, obviously, which that's the issue with zone.
Yeah.
But you're talking about a team that's not a great three-point shooting team. Like when they did against Princeton, I was ripping my hair out, saying, "What are you doing here, dude? That's the worst decision you could possibly make."
Yeah, you don't want to do it against. If you win, you don't want to do it on Sunday against Purdue.
Yeah, but against Miami, if there was ever a time to rock some of that zone, you get Mark Mitchell probably not as much in foul trouble, because you got to make sure he's not in foul trouble against Renu, right? Like that's the one concern. Yeah, I think this would be the one time where I'm actually sitting here saying, "Hey, Dennis, put him in the gates of hell and throw that zone at him."
Well, I think maybe not even that zone. Throw a 2-3 zone where you're just packing the inside and forcing them to shoot, and just keeping everything out of the interior, because I don't know if that would necessarily work, but they are a team that when they refuse to shoot the three, it can cause a lot of traffic in the paint.
Yes.
It can feel very clustered inside the arc.
Yeah.
From that standpoint, would you want to play a zone that you get that spread out at times and then offer offensive rebounding lanes to go and get when Miami's that good at it? There are some clear advantages that Missouri has in this game. But there are some clear advantages that Miami has in this game, too.
If it gets sped up, by the way, I like Missouri a lot.
Yeah. And if Missouri is rebounding and playing physical basketball, or if they're calling it close, which isn't great for Sean Phillips, but could be great for Mizzou overall because Miami wants to play physical basketball.
By the way, I'm hoping. I've been giving Dennis Gates a lot of credit this year because I do think he's improved as a coach. We know he can recruit. But as a coach, I think he's improved. We talked about how late game situations he's gotten better out of timeouts. He's improved dramatically after play calls, after timeouts. Did you learn losing to Drake last year? Did you learn about the physicality? Because last year, Drake forced Missouri to play their game, and then Missouri panicked. Right?
Yep.
Hey, if Miami play your game, Missouri. Right? Because I think against A&M, they didn't get fooled by buckyball. I think Dennis Gates has improved as a coach, and now is this is your chance to show that you have grown and evolved as a head coach of this Missouri Tigers basketball team.
Mizzou's got to be able to use their size, their height to their advantage, because oftentimes on the floor for Miami, Uday's out there, Reno's 6'9", and then it's 6'2", 6'3", and 6'6". When Trent Pierce and Sean Phillips and Mark Mitchell are on the floor at the same time, you've got 6'9", 6'11", 7 foot out there. You don't have the bulk that Miami has with Shelton Henderson, who's 6'6", 250. Reno's 6'6", 240, and we know what Ernest Uday is at 6'11", 260 something. They've got the thicker size, not the height, but that's how they use that physicality to their advantage to go and rebound. Put an ass in somebody, as you would say.
Use that ass.
Use that ass. They do. Missouri doesn't have a lot of lead in the tank with some of their players. Trent Burns and Trent Pierce, tall, lanky, but can get pushed out of position.
And even
from
Jacob
time to
Cruz
time.
at 6'8" as a almost shooting guard.
Yep, can get pushed out of position from time to time. So it's going to be a physical game. If Missouri is ready for the physicality and appreciates possessions early in the game and is fighting and scrapping for every rebound and loose ball, I think they win the game. I think they'll quote-unquote be fine. Those are the areas that they have struggled with of late, and that's where Miami can hurt you. That's the concern that's there for Mizzou. The home crowd, I think, will help them along.
Yeah.
And who knows with free throw shooting, if the home crowd there and Miami shooting free throws late and they're a bad free throw shooting team, maybe that impacts that particular. We'll find out. Mizzou has St. Louis. They have to take advantage of that now. If they win, Purdue could be right there. Purdue was the worst number 2 team, but still a damn fine team.
Yeah, it's not like we're talking. It's the worst number 2.
It's a damn fine team.
Good team. Missouri, by the way, that was played as they play up and down in competition. They beat Florida, they beat Kentucky on the road, but yet they also lost to LSU and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, they had a lead against Kentucky in Nashville with 2 minutes to go. They had a layup.
Beat Vandy.
Yeah, they had a layup with a second to go against Arkansas, just like in their last 2 games.
Yeah.
A layup with a second to go in which they got confused because the shot clock expired and the red light lit up.
Yeah.
And Trent Pierce held the ball and thought it was over and then just threw it at the basket, thinking that the game was over, not thinking, oh, wait, I got to put back here. I can just lay it up and we win. That layup goes in. They beat Arkansas. Again, they got a lead against Kentucky in Nashville. Played terrible against Oklahoma. Oklahoma was the first team out of the tournament. And then they took care of Tennessee. So the last 4 games, and Mississippi State, by the way. So
sure.
Mississippi State before that, Tennessee. So the last 5 games. But they've lost 3 in a row. They've had opportunities in 2 of them to beat a 7 seed and a 4 seed.
Correct.
They didn't do that. But they've played good teams. They've been in position to do that. We'll see what happens with that. We'll take a timeout, come back, and wrap up this hour. More Zone next. All right, wrap it up this hour. We will hear from Casey Alexander on the other side of the break, introduced as the next Kansas State head coach of Belmont. We'll hear what he had to say. Gene Taylor talking about Casey Alexander. Casey Alexander giving his thoughts on taking over at Kansas State. And then question and answer with Casey Alexander and his press conference. So we'll do that coming up on the other side of the break. We'll talk a little K-State basketball and their next head coach. Mick Schaefer joins us in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll release a region in the bracket of sound. We'll play that in the 1 o'clock hour. Some learn, funniest, best as well along the way. Chiefs made a move trading for Justin Fields, 6th rounder in the 2027 draft. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer joins us an hour from now. The Kansas State Wildcats didn't take long to hire their next head coach. Belmont eliminated from their conference tournament. News immediately started to spread that Casey Alexander was the prime candidate for the Kansas State Wildcats to be their next head coach. That contract came together. He was hired and introduced as the next head coach of the Kansas State Wildcat basketball team. Here is Gene Taylor introducing Casey Alexander.
I'm not going to be too long, but one of the things that came very, very clear during this process was the interest level in K-State basketball. And Casey pointed out many times about the history and tradition of our program, the fact that we've had 3 different coaches in recent history go to Elite Eights, the financial support for our basketball program, and probably the biggest thing that he talked about was Bramlage Coliseum and the fan support, and how excited he was to be able to coach in probably one of the toughest venues in the country. And that came out a lot with Casey very, very clearly. You know, Coach checked a lot of our boxes that we were looking for. We were looking for experienced head coach. We want a coach with a proven track record of success and consistent success wherever he's coached. He's won at every place that he's been. And those are things that were important to us as we look for our next head coach. But the most important thing is he really, really wanted to be at K-State. He wanted this job really bad, and that came through very clearly in our conversations with him. You know, he talked about the transition from Belmont, Lipscomb, to here. And he was very clear, the Big 12 is not an easy place to coach. But his plan and his vision for our program and how to get there was very, very clear and very well thought out, and we really appreciated that. He wants a program that you as fans can enjoy watching and being a part of and can fill Bramlage up. He talked about the excitement of that more than anything. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you our next head men's basketball coach, Casey Alexander.
So they bring up Casey Alexander, do the pictures and shaking hands and everything, being introduced. And here is Casey Alexander as he's introduced as the head coach, and Casey Alexander giving his thoughts on becoming the head coach at Kansas State.
Awesome stuff. Thanks so much. He said I checked a lot of the boxes. One of them was not that I stand tall like a basketball coach. So I was an AI player. If I was a Division I player back in the day, I'd be about 6'5" right now. But you're going to get 5'8", but you're going to get all of 5'8", okay? That's where we're going to get. You know, a lot of people are going to ask, and with great expectation, why K-State, right? And I'm looking at it. Awesome. This crowd, people that are passionate about their team and their school, is the reason why, above all else, that I wanted to be here. And we'll talk about more about it. But I'm really privileged to be here. I'm grateful that you guys are here. I look forward to getting to know literally all of you if I can. So excited about that. Ironically, the President Rich Linton is not here, right? But Rich and Sally reached out to me early in the process. We got a great bouquet of flowers on our table right now that they sent, and so looking forward to a personal contact there. Really grateful for you, Gene, and the process that ended with today, along with the other members of the search committee. Yeah, I got you. That part of the process is now over, and now we're on the job. So let's turn the page, right? But Casey and Rob and Kenny and Jo, the guys that put in a lot of time and effort to make sure that K-State got the right guy. And I think I'm the right guy. And I look forward to you feeling the same way over time. It'll take some time, but we'll all get there together for sure. So I've had a great communication with a lot of the staff and coaches in the department. That's meant a lot to me, that what are the people who are now my colleagues and people that I'll work with every day have welcomed me. It says a lot about this community. It'll be very important to me as we move forward that's reciprocated, that other coaches in the department, other teams in the department, the community in general knows that I'm committed to being one of them. Really important to me that we share that vision together. And that includes the Manhattan community, the campus community, really all of the people who root for K-State. I mean, it's one of my favorite parts about the business and the job is just connecting and sharing a like-minded approach toward what we're all trying to accomplish. And so that's, again, it's represented in this room, but I told him several times in our conversations along the way, just, it's a thrill for me to be in a place where everybody in the town cares about K-State and everybody on this campus is wearing K-State gear. And the president told me to make sure I wear purple every day. I mean, I got to do some shopping to get that done, but we'll get there for sure. But it's really exciting. And Bramlage, awesome facility. Been here one time 20 or so years ago, but I've watched a lot of games. I've seen the Wabash. I've seen it all, and I can't wait to get started in there. What a great opportunity for us and a privilege to be a part of in the Octagon of Doom, I hear. That's what we call it. It's good. It's nice. That's nice. Some thank yous here. Obviously, my family, my immediate family, Sonny, Allie, Reed, Mason. So good. Such a blessing in my job to have a family who is invested, committed, and loves it. Supportive in every good way, never supportive in a negative way or a tough way. And I'm so grateful for you guys for all of it, and that you're here today. So appreciate that. A lot has gone into this for me, and won't mean as much to you, but I would be doing a disservice if I didn't thank my previous opportunities. My first head coaching job at Stetson University, and Jeff Altier and Wendy Libby, to Lipscomb with Philip Hutchison and Randy Lowry, now to Belmont with Scott Corley and Bob Fisher, who hired me, and their current president, Greg Jones. Those people are very important in my life, and it's not lost on me at all, the opportunities that were given to me that allowed me to do what I do and allowed me to stand here in front of you today. So really, really grateful for them. 27 years in one form or fashion at Belmont, small college player to an assistant coach, and a head coach for the last 7 years. So a lot of relationships there that we're leaving behind, and those are hard relationships to leave behind. But when you love each other, you carry each other with you. You carry them with you, and I'll stay connected to them, but definitely ready to turn this page. So, but that's a great community. So I'll flip from thank yous to kind of what more that you want to know about probably is what's it going to look like, right? And it's going to be a work in progress. But everything for me starts with style, like style of play, style of player, style of program. And we can get deeper into it, but the style of play kind of dictates everything else. If we're going to be a wishbone team, coach, we gotta have a certain number of guys. We're probably not going to do that, but if we were, it would look a little different, right? We want to be a style that is fun to play, fun to watch, fun to cheer for, and leads to wins. Obviously, we want to be high tempo. Every coach in the world is going to say they want to be high tempo, all right, and get up and down the floor. Not every coach can say they're typically in the top 25 in the country in that category per year or scoring per game. We want to be a high assist team. We want to be a really unselfish team. We want to get a lot of work done at the three-point line, but we don't want to live and die at the three-point line. We want to be really efficient outside the arc, inside the arc. Our team this year at Belmont was the number one effective field goal percentage team in the country. So we had great success offensively through the years, but we do it in an efficient way. It's not a track meet. It's just let's figure out how to get the right kind of players who have the right skills. Above all else, understand what it means to play together, all right, that want to share the ball, that understand what it means to be a great teammate. All the things that this day and age are a little tougher to come by, quite honestly. There's a lot out there that distracts from the business at hand, which is winning but we want guys that are still committed to that, and that's exactly how we're going to build. You know, the good thing about doing this in this modern day is things can change quickly, you know, and sometimes you throw darts and you hope you get lucky and strike gold, and it happens, and it's some short-term pleasure that everybody loves. What I would love for you to see is a program that from year to year, you know what the identity of our team is. You recognize faces from year to year. You know when you walk in there, the style of play you're going to get, and it's super predictable. And we got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to change. That stuff happens all the time in athletics and within a game. But I want you to see some consistency. I want you to know our players. I want them to be in the community. I want them to be here consistently. I want to see some retention. All right. I don't want to flip a roster over every season. You know, and that might take a minute or two for us to get to that point. I think we'll probably have quite a bit of turnover this go around, but we don't want to see that on an annual basis. We want to build a program, you know, and I think that's another thing that really, really impressed me about K-State, but I really authentically believe that it's the kind of place with the kind of people that want that. Everybody wants to win. Everybody wants excitement. But what I believe about this community is you want something you can really hold on to and believe in and track with and wrap your arms around. And so that's really important to me that we do it that way. And so excited about that. So with that being said, thanks for having me. Thanks for the really warm welcome. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm really, really excited. I know we've got some questions, so I look forward to that, and we'll learn a little bit more about each other in that process.
So out of the gate, you find out that he's pretty self-deprecating, that he's not going to take himself too seriously. Jokes about his height that, you know, first thing you see from me is I'm not standing like a basketball player here, 5'8", but you're going to get all 5'8" of me, right? So he has that sort of personality, gets emotional. He got emotional when he was talking about his wife and 3 kids and their support there. Style and roster stood out. And he's right when every coach is going to come up and go, we want to play high tempo. You know, like we want to go really fast. We want to score a lot of points. We want to be fun to watch, right? We're going to be entertaining. We're going to score. But he said the entire program is going to be about style, how you play, defend, the style of that. He said they want to play a brand that's fun to play, fun to watch, high tempo, high assist, 3-point line, but not live and die by the 3-point line. Then he said something that I don't think is a direct shot at the previous head coach in Jerome Tang. I think it's more of the circumstances that took place at Kansas State the last couple of years, while also recognizing the climate in college basketball right now, when he said one of the things that they're going to focus on is roster consistency, retention. We don't want to flip the roster every year.
Yeah.
It's been 3 straight years for K-State where they flipped the roster. Brand new team. Again, I'm not saying that he is saying that because of what took place before that, but I think that was probably something Gene Taylor brought up in a priority of, hey, with this program, with our next head coach, we'd like to see if you could build something that some players are here for a couple, 3 years, because there's just been a lot of turnover, and it's just different team after different team, and it's hard to sort of get a grasp and get your footing with the fans to really get to know somebody when it's not just like, 2 or 3 players have changed over. It's like the roster has changed over a number of years, and said it's about the consistency, retention, and building a program, not just year to year. I thought that stood out in terms of how he wants to go about building the team. Retention's a big part of it.
Yep.
NIL's a big part of it because some of his players he couldn't retain because they were going somewhere else to get money. So can he retain the players that he's recruiting and developing at Kansas State? Maybe. Can you recruit at a higher level at Kansas State? Maybe. We'll find out. He wins 20 games. I mean, Casey Alexander, Mark Few, Kelvin Sampson, and Bill Self, the only teams in America to go 10 or more years to win 20 games or more. Currently holding the streak of 10 consecutive years at least.
Google him.
That's right.
I will say
Signetti hasn't won 20 games in a season yet.
when it comes to scoring, we thought K-State was a pretty good scoring team overall. They
Yeah.
obviously had some games that were just absolutely atrocious as well. K-State was 108th in the nation in scoring, which I was surprised that would have been higher. Belmont was 30th.
Yeah.
So, again, I know everyone wants to be high-paced, fast-paced, score a lot of points. Belmont did score. That's what they did. They were also 14th in assists per game as well. So that means probably good play calls,
And you talk about high
ball
assists.
movement, all of those things.
If you're making a lot of threes, you're probably getting a lot of assists because
Sure.
you throw the ball, he hits a three, you get an assist.
Not ISO ball as much.
So they are number one in three-point percentage in America this year.
Which don't you want that?
Yes.
By the way, also
sure, but
that,
it does-
that means
it
he's going
does-
to bring some of the Belmont players with him.
Yeah, it does create, not to take away, because he said, high tempo, high assist. So it is something that they're going to focus on. But if you're a really good, typically the best three-point shooting teams have some pretty good assist numbers.
Sure.
And the teams that don't shoot a lot of threes or don't make a lot of threes have lower assist numbers because it's a lot more difficult to get assists when you're not just passing it to somebody to knock down a three.
True.
But that's part of the game. 4 years in a row, they've been ranked in the top 21 of three-point percentage in America. 5th, 21st, 17th, and 1st this year in three-point percentage. So it is clearly something that they focus on. And adjusted tempo, last 2 years they've been in the top 80. This year they're 93rd in adjusted tempo. Last year 33rd and 29th the year before that in how quickly they want to get up and down the floor. They started the Q&A portion of the press conference, and now K-State head coach Casey Alexander was asked, what went through your mind when you were first contacted by K-State?
I was thrilled for sure. It's the best basketball conference in the country, and with unbelievable opportunities. And I recognize the great tradition here of players, coaches. It's a long-standing tradition. Every coach that you can look back on has had success at one time or another, and most of those coaches, longevity of success. So I was really excited about just the process. I had, it was kind of out of, I don't know if it's right field or left field, but it came out of one of those fields. And so I was happy about it.
Coach, college athletics has gone through a radical change in the last 5 years or so, and you've been on the bad end of that at your previous school. How have you adapted as a coach, and how does this new reality apply to this job?
Yeah, so there has been a lot of change across the board, and it really doesn't matter what level you've been coaching and playing in. It's just significant change, and it still is changing. I think we're all getting used to it, and we're learning a little bit more about it. But just when we think we get it figured out, it flips again. And I have been on the other side of it. We've had so many really good players that have played for us that we had no ability to keep because we just couldn't afford it. And they ended up at places like K-State, and so and so that's obviously one thing that really attracts me about this job is not just being resourced, but it allows me to coach in such a way that we can do it the way I want to do it, which let's go find the players that fit our program, right? Collectively, the puzzle pieces work. And you have a chance to keep those guys, retain those guys, develop those guys, build a team, have some retention, and retention more so than just like faces that are coming back, but that's leadership, that's style of play, that's culture in the locker room. Like all those things are what make programs good. There's a lot of ways to win. There are teams that are going to turn their roster over every season, and a few of them will be able to figure out how to make that work, but it's not a great formula for most places. I think you have to do a little bit. You have to live in the modern world of change and portal and everything else, but you also have to. I think there's still a really great opportunity for a little bit of old school and how you build a program and do it that way.
What do you view as your most important objective when you're coaching a team?
All right. I think you're asking it this way. I'll answer it this way. And I said this to these guys. Like my primary responsibility is to the players in our program. All right, whether that's a 1-year guy or a 5 or what's become like a 6 or 7 year guy. All right, that's my responsibility. And so I look at it on the back end first. Like when those guys leave K-State, like, I want them to tell me that they would sign up and do it all over again. Like that's a job well done right there. All right. And so from the moment they decide this is their place to the moment where we have that goodbye hug to finish it all out, that's what we're trying to accomplish, is that they feel good about their experience and they would sign up and do it all over again. Doesn't work that way for everybody, but that's the goal.
How much do you think you're going to have to change just going from mid-major, high major, and just all the learning that comes with that?
Yeah, I've got plenty to learn. We all do. Whether I was going to be back at Belmont for another year, I'd still have plenty to learn. And there's, the level is very different. I'm not naive to anything that we're walking into right here. This is a heck of a league with some great teams and some Hall of Fame coaches, unbelievable venues, fan bases that dictate winning and losing. There's a curve that's out there for us for sure. But I'm confident in who we are. I'm confident in how we're going to do it. I'm confident we can win here. I'm confident we can win here quickly. I'm confident we can live here consistently. And that'll be my job. Work with the staff and attract the right kind of players. And with your help, we'll get there and we'll stay there.
Can you walk us through your offensive philosophy and what you preach to guys to get them to shoot at such a high clip?
Well, the best thing you can do to get guys to shoot at such a high clip is recruit guys that can shoot at a high clip. Like that's really important. Really important. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of square peg round hole thing there. Offensive philosophy is to build a roster with a lot of guys that can do that, though. It's I'll say this first before somebody asks. You can't do anything well if you're not good on both ends of the floor. It's complementary football, and you don't really hear it that way in basketball, but it's really the same thing. Like you can be fun and score points and have a bunch of numbers, but you can't win if you're not good on both ends of the floor. So there's no sacrifice to the defensive end just because we've been really good offensively throughout my career. But we want to build a team. Like it's important to me that we have a high skill level. Like you got to have athletes, you got to have guys that can guard, you got to have size, you got to have all that. All right. But it's really important that, to me, a tiebreaker for me most often is, can the guy play offense? And does he have a really high IQ? Is he unselfish? And when you get enough of those pieces working together, you can put together a really dynamic team. But that's how it's happened. And again, like at Belmont, we've made more 3-pointers than any team in the country since we've been Division I. Like that's always been a staple of ours. But we also had year after year where we were the best 2-point field goal percentage team in the country. All right. And years where we led the country in assists per game or assist turnover ratio, like all that stuff works together. All right. And so there's zero reason here where we can recruit a better player while we can't accomplish all those same things and have the same kind of success on that end of the floor. But yeah, appreciate you asking the question. I figured it would probably come.
Scott Fritchen, K-State Athletics. Hey, Brian, little boy growing up in Chattanooga, Tennessee, with the man you are today, what does Casey Alexander learn most about himself along this journey?
Oh, wow. Well, that's deep. That's deep. Coming from the only one that introduced himself. I don't know who these other guys are back here, but I sure appreciate your professionalism, really impressive. Yeah, it has been a journey, and it's my favorite part of coaching is the journey. I mean, we're all measured by wins and losses, no escaping that. But whether it's the journey of taking a team from the beginning of the season to the end, that's a really special short period of time, or just the journey of a player's career or the journey of my career or whatever. But, what I've learned the most is there's a lot of, as a young coach, you think you have everything figured out. And if everybody will just do what you say, then it's going to work out for everybody. And I think it's important to have that kind of confidence, but at the same time, in reflection and hindsight, you realize pretty quickly that, yeah, you had a lot to learn. And no matter, regardless of the success that's happened now, being a lifelong learner and learning how to adapt and learning how to do it with new people and learning how to do it in new places, like that's what life is right there. And this is just another chapter of that for me.
Tim Everson, the Manhattan Mercury, since we're doing that now. You mentioned the retention piece a little bit. How important is that kind of starts on the high school end, getting guys in from the high school and then have them in the program for 3-4 years?
I think it's critical. I think it's a missing piece for a lot of programs out there right now that are fluctuating from, bad to good to great. Just depends on what year you're looking at it, and it's not easy at all. There are a lot of guys out there with people in their ear, and everybody seems to have a different agenda, but the like-mindedness that it requires to be a really good team and a really good program requires some retention from year to year, in my opinion. And it'll be probably the most important part of our plan when you think about recruiting and year to year and building something. Again, in the old days, when a coach got hired, it was like, hey, let's give that guy 3 or 4 years, get his players in here. I mean, my gosh, that's about a 3 or 4 month turnaround now, and then you never know what's going to happen. But the retention piece is so huge. We want to recruit some really good high school players, and we want to keep them. And the more you do that annually, the more retention you're going to have. You're always going to have people out of the portal. You're always going to have to fill needs with portal guys, all right? But we don't want fruit basket turnover where everything's brand new every year, as best as we can help it. The language and the system, the carryover from just year to year with leadership, all those things are so important to the success of your team if you really care about the team, and so that'll be a focus of ours.
There's Casey Alexander, head coach of Kansas State. Some really interesting stuff, some good stuff there from Casey Alexander. Let's take a time out. We'll come back. I'm going to talk about the things that we heard, the philosophy that he wants to go with. He talked a little bit about that in his intro, but then the Q&A portion was asked specifically about his offensive philosophy, type of players, program, the change in college basketball, change in going from Belmont and the Missouri Valley to the Big 12 Conference, because there will be a learning curve for him as well. And he did say there's going to be a curve for the program to adjust to, and we'll see how long that takes. But also there at the end talking about it used to be 3 or 4 years, wait till this guy gets his guys in. Not necessarily the case anymore. You certainly want stability, and that starts with high school guys, but like to start winning pretty quickly. There are a couple of players on Belmont that I think would be easy transitions from Belmont to Kansas State, including one of them that put his name in the portal in the last 24 hours that I would guess would be K-State and Casey Alexander's first recruit. We'll talk about that next. All right, coming up at 1 o'clock, we're going to release a region in our bracket of sound. Mick Schaefer will join us at 1 o'clock. He's presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. A couple things I wanted to talk about as we heard from Casey Alexander there, the newest head coach for the Kansas State Wildcats. The most important objective, he said, primary responsibility is to his players, 1 year, 4-year players, whatever that might be. Offensive philosophy. And I love how he said this. And he said, well, how do you get guys that are, such good shooters? Yeah, you recruit good shooters. There you go. I remember a long time ago, Rick Pitino had a team that just could not score. They were so good defensively, but they couldn't shoot. And I remember him saying in the middle of the season, I'm never going to have a team like this again because it is tough to recruit somebody that's really good defensively and teach them how to shoot. I can take a shooter and teach them the principles of playing defense. And he said, that's going to be my focus, is we're going to have teams that are going to shoot it. We're not going to have a team like this that can't shoot the ball anymore.
Correct.
Yeah, take a guy that's a good shooter, recruit good shooters, and teach them how to play defense instead of you're taking a guy who's a stud defender and, hey, let's teach him how to make a jump shot. Well, now you're trying to do it at the college level. It's like trying to become a more accurate passer in the NFL. Josh Allen did it, but not the best strategy to hope that the guy becomes more accurate in the NFL as a quarterback than he was in college.
There's, I mean, Jacob Cruz, for example, is the perfect example. He can shoot. Yeah, okay, maybe he can't play defense. He might be able to teach him, but he's still a piece on Missouri because he's such a good shooter. It was why he was getting playing time over Anor Boateng. Boateng, great defender, but couldn't score at all. So what happened? Who got more PT? Well, Jacob Cruz did. I think it's a misconception of, well, you'll just teach him to shoot. You're not in 1 year. And a lot of times guys now are only here 1 year. Yeah, if they're there 4 years, sure. From freshman to senior year, they might become a better shooter. That's totally – Melvin Council improved in his 5 years in college becoming a better shooter. He's not a great shooter, but he's a better shooter than he once was, correct?
Yep.
I think we can all agree there. But there's a misconception I've always found of, well, you can just teach him to shoot. No. It's in the NBA. NBA guys do, because what do they do all day? That's all they do. That's their job. They have all day, and sometimes it takes them years. It took Jeremy Grant years to learn how to shoot threes. It took Brooke Lopez years.
Yeah.
And some guys don't, like Ben Simmons, because they don't have the work ethic. But I think there's always a misconception of, especially in college, oh, we'll just teach him to shoot. You're not. Especially in college, it just does not work like that. You have to bring those guys in. You have to identify the shooters, bring those guys in, and they can help. Yeah, sure, you'll miss on a couple like the Jayhawks did with Nick Timberlake.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, three-point shooting translates from, mid-majors to look at Bennett Sturts.
Yeah.
It's transferred from D2 to Drake to Iowa.
So there are a number of players that, at least a few players that you would look at Belmont and wonder if there can be a Kurt Signetti, James Madison following that coach to Indiana. Belmont's best player, senior Tyler Lundblade, who is 6'5", 195 senior guard. He put his name in the transfer portal yesterday, shoots 41% from three on 274 attempts. Last year, he shot 47% from three.
Wow.
On 212 attempts.
Wow.
He transferred from TCU. He's a Texas kid, went to TCU for 2 years, then transferred to Belmont the last 2 years. He could be a grad transfer, obviously, playing 4 years, and if he transfers again, being eligible. That's one that I wonder if you immediately get a senior into your program that's been around for now what would be the third year of your philosophy, how you run things, to start off your recruiting, and a guy that is going to be a high-volume shooter with a high percentage of makes.
It really is just what they did at Iowa with Bennett Sturts.
Yeah.
I think Bennett's probably a better overall player.
But to that degree,
to the degree of, okay, so he's going to be a cornerstone. We have a guy, he can teach the young guys, the freshmen, or even some of the transfers, this is how we do things. He knows how I like to do things. He's your captain. He becomes your Nick Bolton.
Yeah,
he gets everyone set up.
Look at me. I'm the captain now. And there are two other players that I think would make sense, because if he's talking about not wanting to have turnover every single year. I'm not saying go and get Belmont starting 5 and then, hey, now you're going to be really good. But you've got 2 other players if you're talking about starting off with a foundation of guys who can shoot threes, knock them down, and have a little bit of size. Ian Dillon's a freshman at Belmont, 6'9", 220. He's taken over 100 threes, and he's shooting 47% this year from behind the arc. Dude. And sophomore Sam Orn, who's also 6'9", 220, he's taken over 100 threes, and he's shooting 41% from behind the arc.
It was a bummer Belmont didn't make the tournament because they would have been really fun.
Well, they lost their point guard.
And Northern Iowa was the team.
Yep. Yeah, they lost Nick McLean, the point guard for Belmont, who was averaging 7 assists per game. Yeah. Got injured and missed the last month and a half of the season. And so that certainly wrecked things for them. But those are, to me, 3 players that you get a freshman, a sophomore, and then Lundblade, the best player, would have 1 year to play. But you also offer a little size with a couple of guys who are 6'9" that can be stretch 4s, and combined shooting 200 threes at a 44% clip. And your senior guard is a guy that shot 47% last year and 41% this year on over 400 threes taken the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So those are names that I would be interested to see if they were to move with Casey Alexander from Belmont to Kansas State. Only Tyler Lundblade has put his name in the transfer portal so far in the last 24 hours or so. So people sort of think that's going to be an easy move for him. But Lundblade also might be an incredibly coveted guy. And he might look at Casey Alexander and say, thanks, Coach, I appreciate it, but Duke is wanting to bring me in, and I'm going to go to Duke or Kentucky or, another one of these schools. Probably not Kansas.
I do wonder how K-State, by the way, backs.
With the NIL?
Because they had backed Jerome Tang.
Yeah.
There's no denying that they gave Jerome Tang resources. They did. There's no arguing of, well, if Jerome Tang had more, he would have done better. They gave him a lot of money, and they were brutal the past couple seasons. So at some point, okay, so it's not the money, it's the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You give Casey Alexander, again, we'll find out, but what he did at Belmont, you give him now tougher conference, all of that. The same resources, you have to. You can't say, well, now we have him, he's a better coach, so now we can afford to cheap out.
Yep.
Well, then you're not helping yourself. Yeah. You have to give him the same amount of resources as Jerome.
Well, and that's what he said, and said, at the end, with the help from you guys, he wasn't talking to the media. He was talking to the alumni base and people that are there to watch. Some of your biggest boosters can get invited to these introductory press conferences because then, hey, now you can meet Casey Alexander. Here you go. And as he said, with help from everybody here, not necessarily the media, that we can do that. But he also said that, how he's adapted to college basketball because he said, look, I've been on the other side of it. We've had really good players, and we had no ability to afford to retain them. Retention is something that he said he's going to focus on. So you got to get them there first. And then can you retain them once you get them there on campus? I've pointed out, I think, 3 guys that I think would make some sense because you would have a guy who's been around the system for 3 years that can make sure everybody understands it. You'd have a sophomore that's been in the system for already a year that would be there for 3 more years. And you would have a freshman that's been in the system for a year. And you would have essentially 4 years, I guess, if you get extra years of eligibility. Give them 5th year for something. Who knows?
We talk about all the time in college sports. A lot of times, the older teams are the one that has success. Indiana success in the postseason with their age,
and those guys have played together.
True, and I was going to say, honestly, Drake against Missouri was like that. We saw Auburn when Auburn was ancient, and they had the 26-year-old and Janai Broom. And
that's right.
I mean,
because Drake had Northwest Missouri State's team that would go undefeated.
Yes,
and he took like 5-6 players from that team, put them on Drake. They go to the round of 32 because they've played together. They know the system in and out. Not saying you do that at Kansas State.
But it is funny. I think this year is a good example of will the age outweigh the talent? Because I think this entire NCAA season has been based on the freshmen. It's been Boozer, Peterson, Acuff. What's the guy for? Isn't it Louisville guy? Is he a freshman?
Michael Brown.
He's
had the back injury,
so we'll see.
AJ DeBonce.
I mean, this has been the year of the freshmen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we'll find out, does the year of the freshmen continue, or is it going to be yet again a situation where it's the teams that have been around, the veterans, that find ways. I mean, Florida even last year was like that. They have a lot of returning guys. No Walter Clayton, obviously, anymore. But we'll see. I just find it fascinating. We'll see. This year's the 1 year the freshman class get it done.
Well, we saw last year a lot of those teams, as you mentioned. It's a good point that those teams that made it pretty far to the Elite Eight and the Final Four, a national championship game, they had guys that had been on their team for a couple of years. It wasn't just all brand new players. It was a lot of transfers, but a lot of transfers that had played 2 or 3 years at that school. Not just this guy transferred in this year. I think Houston's only player was Milos Uzan from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Was the only player in like their top 6 or 7
that
hadn't played more than a year or 2 with Kelvin Sampson already at Houston. That was his first year. But that was Florida. It was Auburn. Like it was those teams that made it that far had players that their top 6 or 7 had been on the team for a couple of years. Even though a lot of them were transfers,
sure,
they had been on the team for a couple of years. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour, we'll talk with and hang out with Mick Schaefer for the final hour of the show here. Presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. And we will present our first region in the 2026 Bracket of Sound. We'll do that with Mick Schaefer. Learn Funniest Best as well with Mick Schaefer. And the program coming your way after we are done at 2 o'clock. But still plenty to get into and talk about with this NCAA tournament. We played Keith Gill earlier today talking about Miami of Ohio being in the tournament, but not necessarily the last team selected in the tournament. We can still play, probably want to at some point, Tommy Lloyd and Kelvin Sampson. We'll do that. And America's shortstop played last night.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, we continue on this Monday edition of The Zone, heading up until 2 o'clock. Brackets released yesterday. We had them live for you right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hosting the Selection Sunday show. Then we heard from Bill Self and Dennis Gates talking about the matchups. KU getting ready for Cal Baptist on Friday night. Mizzou getting ready for Miami on Friday night. Mizzou heading to St. Louis. KU heading to St. Diego. Both Friday games.
Scholars maintain they don't know what it means.
That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Bill Self saying if it wasn't Oklahoma City or St. Louis, he would rather go to San Diego. Yeah,
He's
weather.
saying that.
Yeah, weather. But I don't know if he would have said that if it was like, hey, look, if it wasn't Oklahoma City or St. Louis, I preferred Buffalo.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got to Buffalo.
You know, I have a second cousin lived there. I haven't seen him.
Love to go to Rutgers.
Yeah,
Piscataway, New Jersey.
This was my third choice after Oklahoma City and St. Louis, getting sent to San Diego to play a team that's an hour and a half away from the arena in Cal Baptist. There are a few homish crowds for the teams that'll be wearing the road jerseys.
There are.
There's a couple at least.
One very close.
There's one in St. Louis with Mizzou, and then KU will be playing that with Cal Baptist 90 minutes from their campus is where they'll be playing that particular game. With the brackets being released, it means that, Mick, we start our bracket of sound, right?
Yes.
I mean, we've got to.
It's what I've been looking forward to all year long.
Yep. As soon as we're done with the bracket of sound, it's like, damn it, let's count down the days until we get the bracket of sound.
I bet I'm not even in it.
Yeah, probably not. Probably
2 regions this year.
No, I bet I'm not in it.
Yeah.
I bet I don't make it.
We could do a Sterling bracket of sound.
Yeah, just all Sterling.
Could do just a Sterling.
Did you say there were like 60-some?
It was like
just of him?
64, 65 clips that I had to find a way
It's the
to
perfect
whittle
number.
it down. Yes, it's
Yeah.
You know, we could do an NIT.
I don't know.
We could maybe do an NIT of the clips I didn't use because I didn't
Yes.
want the Sterling to be 8.5 minutes.
That's a long time.
I don't
for
know
you.
if he prefers that kind of attention, if he could handle that. I don't know.
a good
Are
point.
you okay with the
No.
tension?
I did
I'm
win
tired.
last year, though.
He did.
What's that?
He
I
was
did
Florida.
win last year.
What do you mean you won?
The
one of
Sterling,
yours?
no, the
Florida.
Sterling Sound.
Florida. That's Florida.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
what
had
I'm saying,
so
yeah.
I won last year.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
the
props to
Sterling
you.
mix. Yeah, you put a lot into it too.
Credit to me for doing that.
Absolutely.
Winners win.
So here are our regions. We will release one of these regions. Represented in the East is the Ryan just got tased region.
Strong.
In the West region is the region that will blow for Bain.
Yeah.
The
Tracks.
South region is the Sterling's trips with the boys being dudes region.
That's a strong region.
My God.
Of course we're going south.
Yes. And the region we'll be releasing today is the Midwest region, the region that will tickle your tonsils.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy
It
Reid.
is the tickling tonsils region of the NCAA Tournament 2026 Bracket of Sound. So without further ado, Michael, let's go ahead and get into the Midwest region, the Tickle Your Tonsils region. The number 1 seed in the Midwest is the Michigan Wolverines. They will be represented by this sound.
We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
The odds of that happening in that region were probable, Odds were probable. Number 1 seed, tickling of tonsils for Andy Reid.
Yeah.
The Michigan
Clear
Wolverines.
cut when we saw it, right?
We knew.
When we saw Michigan in Vegas in
Yeah.
November, we're like, that's a number 1 seed.
Yep.
When we heard Tickle Your Tonsils, we were like, that's a number 1
it's a number
seed.
1
I
seed.
still can't believe Andy Reid actually said that. Like, I'm still just shocked.
For the next 20 years, it'll be like, was that AI? Remember when AI, they were doing different AI things at the time and nobody knew if it was or not? We didn't have the AI deciphers that we've created now in 2052.
Here's it. If he knew how everybody was going to take it,
he would not have said it. Oh, agreed. But how
I-
else do you take it?
I hope he knew
Well-
exactly how it was going to be received. All right, working on next year. Good for you. 16 seed Howard and UMBC will be playing in the play-in game tomorrow night. They are the first game out of the gates. Howard is represented by this sound. Sterling got rim last night.
Did you?
I did. I got it.
There you
I
go.
like Lebo's. Did you?
Did you? Good for you.
Underseated there.
UMBC taking on Howard. UMBC represented with this sound.
You guys need to find some young guy that embraces this crap.
Or maybe you can change.
No, I'm not changing. You don't change an old man.
You could make a. You could be a sea change for the world.
You could change.
If you could change, he could. We
I'm
could
not
change
changing.
Anyone can change.
We all can change.
You
I wouldn't
have
be
to go
here if
back
I
to
didn't
watching.
change.
No.
Yeah. Look at it. What if he didn't change?
Yeah. What if I didn't change? Remember old Jake?
I liked old Jake. I loved old Jake.
Expiration date.
Yeah. Well, we all have expiration days.
His
guys.
His was sooner than we wanted.
I liked old Jake.
We found a jar of pickles in my dad's house. It expired in 2013. That's about your expiration.
Yeah, almost about. Yeah, it was a year later.
That is UMBC and Howard. One of those teams will be eliminated tomorrow night. Old Jake, new Jake, we'll see. Number 8, Georgia. The Bulldogs. Georgia represented by this sound. It is odd to see somebody built like that and have nothing on the backside. And the only reason I notice it, and I'm like, good God, that is from talking with you and studying the bets. So
Well, that could be my role in your world.
I was looking at his butt and thinking of you, Cynthia. So I hope that makes you feel better.
Great.
I was honest with her.
Wow.
I was watching the Miami offensive line, staring at that guy's butt, thinking of Cynthia Freeland. Typically what people do.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
That's workplace harassment right there.
Yeah, I feel uncomfortable.
Look, she wrote her entire senior thesis on studying offensive linemen's backside and how it relates to their effectiveness.
You got to bring the ass.
She talked about that a lot. And so when I saw the right tackle for Miami, I was like, wow, that sucks for him. He must not be that good of an offensive lineman because it was it was very top heavy. All right. He's like the Kool-Aid man.
Flat bottom boy.
He was a
Flat bottom boy. Don't make the quarterbacks very happy.
I'm not sure. St. Louis, they are represented by this sound.
Please introduce yourself to the public.
My name is Gilbert Paul Burke IV.
What's your nickname?
Which one do you want?
You know what I want.
Gildo?
No.
I love that. It is now. It is now.
That was not the nickname they were asking
Was
about.
that an intern?
No, he's in sales.
Okay.
His nickname, Gildo.
What?
Apparently, that's his nickname.
What was the nickname he was supposed to say?
Don't know, and I don't care anymore. That is St. Louis. Texas Tech, the 5 seed in the Midwest, is represented by this sound.
Tried to draw him offside. Sorry. Mahomes says, Coach, it doesn't
there they go.
work. He was faking it.
There they
He
go.
got you.
You had given up on that one. You thought for sure it was a draw, didn't you?
The Andy Reid.
Draw him offside.
Unbelievable. Pete Carroll even knows this. We're going to make you think we're trying to draw you offsides, and then we're going to go ahead and take a downward punt. And then he goes, and Mahomes goes, gosh, it never works. It never stinking works.
That's Texas Tech randomly.
Go Red Raiders, by the way.
Yeah.
He had better acting there than he has in any of his State Farm commercials.
Was that the best play of last year?
Probably so.
It was pretty good, yeah.
Who was that against? I can't remember.
You know what the best two things about the
Raiders.
Chiefs season? The best two things of the Chiefs season were Andy Reid's comments of tickling tonsils and that fake play. That's when you know it was a bad year.
Looking at the field, I think it's the only play that made. There weren't. Usually, this is packed with Chiefs stuff. Not necessarily this year. That's the 5 seed Texas Tech randomly connected to Mahomes. I'm not sure how that happened. The 12 seed Akron taking on Texas Tech. The 12 seed Akron represented with this sound.
Our participant got through 7 hot dogs. He asked us, can he do 2 more beers instead? We said that's okay because he was in pain. And so he did the 7-Eleven challenge.
I had a buddy of mine. He did the 7-Eleven challenge. Ended up in jail overnight.
Robbed them at gunpoint. I was
Just offering the wrong person a ride. That's all.
okay.
That'd be nice.
That's offered you a ride.
You can get anything you want at 7-Eleven.
I do like a Slurpee. You know, when it
That's what he was looking for. Not what I'm drinking. You have it. I have it. And it's it's theater of the mind.
Yeah.
And then here comes the bull in the China shop.
Yeah.
I hate nuance.
I hate nuance.
There you go. That's that matchup. The number 4, we moved to the bottom. Well, actually, no, not the bottom part of the bracket. Nope, it's still that top part of the bracket with the 4 versus 13. Alabama, the 4 seed, represented by this sound.
I go on TV every day, and people tell me I look like a ventriloquist dummy. They tell me I look like an off-brand version of Ronald Reagan. They tell me I look like John Mulaney, but sober.
Those got better and better each
They
one.
did, absolutely. And Alabama may not be long for the tournament because one of their leading scorers got arrested today for felony possession marijuana. He was arrested with a pound.
LeBaron, was it?
It's Holloway, arrested with a pound of marijuana. And I said the anonymous tip was sent in by Cleety Spaxton. Randomly, not Speedy Claxton, the head coach of Hofstra. Just some random dude.
Completely different.
Cleety Spaxton gave in that anonymous tip. Number 13, Hofstra taking on Alabama. Hofstra represented by this.
If Sherm wants to act like he's Lebo, and I'll be Rasheed Rice. But
All right, let's do that.
No,
Oh,
we're not gonna do
just for a few seconds. You're Rasheed Rice. You're your locker. You're Todd Lebo, Sports Radio 810. Come on, ask him something.
What happened on the play that you dropped the ball?
Man, shut your bald ass up, man. I ain't talking to your stupid ass.
So that's how you'd answer it.
That's how I would do if I'm him.
Wow.
The role
Man.
play.
Yeah. Okay.
That would be really interesting if Rasheed Rice did answer it that way. I guess it would
That'd
be
be a
better
really
for,
bad question if Todd phrased it that
Yeah.
way. What happened when you dropped the ball? The answer should be I dropped the ball.
You know,
Didn't
if
catch
it's between leaving before the media gets there and answering that way, I think he made the right choice.
You know
Leaving
what?
before the media
If
got
Nick
there.
asked that question, I'd be like, "Man, shut your great hair, looking great hair with your
ass up,
ass up, yeah,
Yeah, shut up.
huh?"
And I'd be like, okay,
All
flattered.
right. Well, thank you, Rasheed.
Done in the locker room, Brad.
Let's move to the bottom half of the bracket in the Tickle Your Tonsils region, represented in the Midwest. The number 6 seed, the Tennessee Volunteers. The Tennessee Volunteers represented by this sound.
That's right. Give me John and give me Shane. I wanted to save this one for when Curtis was here, but we got to rock.
Pornhub. We won't remember.
Here he is. Here he is.
I got it.
Wow. You guys win. I'm sorry, John, but we can't not give credit to that joke.
Oh my God.
That's pretty
That's a
good.
great line by Shane. 6 seed Tennessee. There's a play-in game that Tennessee will be going up against the 11 seed SMU and the 11 seed Miami of Ohio. SMU, the 11 seed, represented by this sound.
This is a great view of it here because so far above the green, downwind you can get onto this green, but Scheffler. What are you laughing about? There's so much to say about that shot.
So much to say.
Front face. Oh, it's extraordinary. Let's stick to the golf. Just a little bit of wind from behind.
A little bit of wind from
Just helps it
behind.
ease down the green.
He was talking about.
There's an echo as well. What a shot from Scheffler. And off the back of his tee shot in the 16th, that one there.
He even talked about it after the round was over that I guess that was me. I don't know. Maybe it helped me get a better shot, Scheffler.
They
were
use a lot of
downwind.
energy for the swing. All of a sudden, sometimes you just gotta
Release it.
release it, let it go.
Imagine if you released it before he swung.
Yeah,
Just
I do
love
that
it.
all the time on the tee. It's
In the
great.
replay, they leaned into it. It's a lot
They
of
really
wind
did.
behind that shot. That's
an 11 seed.
It's a strong field sometimes.
Can I talk to the committee?
Sure, if you want to.
Sucks. I just talked to the committee.
Miami of Ohio made the bracket, and they're in the play-in game represented by this sound.
I've rededicated myself, and I'm coming here with a full tank. Jake topped me off in the
What the hell's going on in here? Hold on.
No.
Oh. Miami of Ohio.
Wow.
In the tournament.
It would be a field of like 16 if we didn't have the morning show.
You're not wrong.
or just Final Four Sterling.
Just be all Sterling.
We'd have 4.
4 stews.
We'd wait till April till they get the Final Four. Like, all right, here's the 4 best clips.
Be all
Only
Sterling.
clips.
The number 3 seed, Virginia, the Cavaliers, represented by this sound.
And so tell people about what you guys do together in separate rooms, but on camera.
In separate rooms, yes.
Well,
that sounds very interesting. Everything you just said
Explain
there.
this to me so people will know exactly what we're talking about
I
here.
think it's very, very important to emphasize that this is on YouTube, not OnlyFans. They are just shoving it all in this year. That inch is the critical one.
I was saying something, and then the meat came by and just completely distracted me.
I'm just not convinced that they're going to be able to stick this thing out and pull it all the way through. Like it comes in the front and then goes out the back.
If you go longer, it's for the best.
Okay, great.
Is that what your doctor said?
When I open up the shades and everything, I can look out there on cold mornings like that, and he's always out there on my deck blowing on his nuts. And he's got a thick trunk, which is probably going to get marked now.
Mine is small and dilapidated.
Teams are still going to get penetration on you, and they're going to blow up your blocking schemes, and they know what you're going to do. You could put Jesus back there, and teams are going to stop him.
He can't pass block. Jesus notoriously struggles against
That's
the
the
blitz.
problem.
Great front runners, boys. Love it.
And Bryson, so I'm doing pretty well.
Oh, Bryson can suck it.
If you're one of those mother bleepers, I'll say you're a mother bleeper.
That's a hammer on Trent McDuffie.
Hey, Trent. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, my guy.
Cowboys are the one team that would probably overpay for a couple of reasons, and Jerry's one, and the fact that they need secondary help is another. Cowboys do some crazy shit sometimes. Oh, whoa! Oh my goodness.
Matt Derrick, welcome to the club.
There's the Virginia Cavaliers, the number 3
So
seed.
why is that all 1 and not like 20?
All Matt Derrick.
I remember when he said that McDuffie has a hammer on him,
yeah.
and I told him in the break, and he had no idea. He said it. We had to go back. He goes, "I did not say that." He goes,
fairly certain he has no idea most of the time here.
Never.
He's
I'm
on
like,
a roll.
I'm like, Matt, you literally said McDuffie has a hammer. I was like, good for McDuffie.
And I said, Matt, go ahead and tune in that first week of the NCAA tournament because I'm assuming that'll be part of the Matt Derrick mix that we typically have.
Hopefully, was that a?
That's a 3 seed.
3 seed. Okay,
That's Virginia.
Strong.
Yep.
Need that again. Need more of Matt.
They will be playing the number 14 seed Wright State, represented by this sound.
Max Scherzer is a psycho, and I love it.
Psycho, yeah.
Try taking him out of a game.
I'm
see
just
what
rooting for
happens.
America. Which eye would you look at if you had to walk up to him?
I don't know.
Looking right in that forehead.
They're different
right
colors.
above.
The brown one.
Wow.
Jeez.
Dude.
Jake is like a bull in a giant shop. There's no nuance. Just let it simmer out there. Everybody knows what you're saying.
What eye would you look at? The brown one. Look at the brown one. I know he's got a blue one, but you definitely want to look at his brown eye. Kentucky, the 7 seed, taking on Santa Clara, the 10 seed at the bottom part of the Midwest bracket, the tickle your tonsils bracket. Number 7, Kentucky, represented by this sound.
25,000 people there, and I vaguely hear a warning issued. As the head coach, I was assistant for 24 years, and as an assistant, you're almost treated like a second level citizen, and you can't say a word. Now, as a head coach, I think it is your right to get an explanation of why we got warned. And I'm 48 years old. I shouldn't get shooed by another grown man.
Coastal Carolina.
Right, so when I come out to ask what the warning is, a grown man shooed me. So at that point, I can now hear him say, it was a warning issued for arguing balls and strikes. And at that point, I said, because you missed 3. At that point, ejected. If that warrants an ejection, I'm the first one to stand here like a man and apologize. 2 words that define our program are own it. And what does that mean is you have to own everything that you do without blame, without defending yourself, without excuses. If you guys watch the video, there was a guy that came in extremely aggressively, tripped over Campos's foot, embarrassed in front of 25,000, immediately goes 2-game suspension, and said, bumping the umpire. Immediately does that. There was no bump. He was embarrassed. I shouldn't be held accountable for a grown man's athleticism. They'll retract it, though, because now it's excessive. And the reason why it's excessive, because I was trying to say I didn't bump him. It is what it is. But if that warranted an ejection, man, there'd be a lot of ejections. As an umpire, I feel like it's your job to manage the game, the national championship game, with some poise, some calmness, and a little bit of tolerance.
Coastal Carolina head coach was tossed in the College World Series.
You listed a lot of grown man rules there.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not responsible for a grown man's athleticism.
I got
Lack
shooed.
thereof.
I got shooed by a grown man. I'm 48 years old. A grown man shooed me. That was Kentucky. Santa Clara is taking on Kentucky in St. Louis. That is represented by this sound.
Both really good players. Both have packages. We're not going to wet the balls.
Wow. Only a couple of them this year with the Chiefs coaches, unfortunately. That's Santa Clara. We slide down to the number 2 seed in St. Louis in the Tickle Your Tonsils bracket. It is Iowa State, the Cyclones, represented by this.
Jason opens it.
Oh, right for it. Why'd you put it so close to your nose?
He's
never done it before. Oh my God!
He's on the ground.
He shoved his nose right
He shoved his
in
nose
that thing.
right in it.
Oh my God.
We have a little angle
How many
of the
warnings did you
table
need?
that
Right?
sits out.
Yeah.
He fell over the top of it.
When does it wear off?
It should be gone by now, Jason. It
was not.
It's in my brain.
Yeah. Oh my! He just dove right in.
Yeah, he got in there.
I've never done it before.
Exactly. Well,
Why'd you go
Don't be
first?
so aggressive.
Why did you want to go first?
Man, you okay?
Yeah.
You're gonna go 8 hours today now.
Well, that's some people like that. I don't know. Oh man.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I told you to have the dump button ready because I didn't
say anything.
No, I know, but audible noises.
It's good. That's all you did?
Yeah.
That's all you did?
That's all you're supposed to do.
Dude, I just did 3 lines of
Experience.
smelling salts. You just got near it. Oh, my
Yeah,
goodness.
he's got a.
Oh, man, I got the drippage going on now. I did, yeah.
Ooh, baby, you got it. It'll get you.
Oh, baby girl.
Like it knows where it's going.
2 claps and a Ric Flair.
Woo! Woo!
Oh man, that. Oh.
God, now I know
Wait.
why they banned them. That,
Are
those
you,
things should not
are
be
you
allowed.
like 19 or something?
Yeah.
Because this would be a saltine.
Best way to end it was that.
Yep, that's how we had to end it with that one.
You hurt yourself flying over that cutoff over
I
there.
have never done it before, and you guys were like, "Yeah, you just open that up and sniff it." I'm like, okay. And
Why wouldn't you have us go first?
We talked about some reason why I don't remember.
I believe when we gestured, it wasn't like just pulling up to your nose.
You guys
and
actually
diving
said
right
to
in.
drink out of it. That was I thought I was going a little, man. Those things should be.
Inch your way into it. And then,
No, they
back
actually
away.
should be illegal. Like they should absolutely be taken out of the. Those things are dangerous. The smell and salts. Iowa State taking on Tennessee State, represented by this sound, the 15 seed.
And I want to see him go pants somebody.
Yeah. Make the other team's defensive coordinator say, "Can I put my pants on first?"
Yes.
Tennessee State, the Tickle Your Tonsils region, represented by the Midwest in our 2026
Strong
bracket
region.
of sound. It's a good region. It's a good region. We've got 3 more to release. We'll release 1 more tomorrow, and then the final 2 on Wednesday.
Can't wait to see what Mizzou and KU are represented by.
Let's see.
Despair?
Right
I
there.
think I know what MU is represented by, but I won't say it.
What?
A certain individual.
Sadness?
Saying something.
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It is an individual saying something, that I can promise.
Is it Sterling?
No.
Doesn't seem like me.
No. The problem with Sterling is that he has so many that he's created his own. So that's what we do. And that's the Sterling's trips with the boys being dudes region.
That doesn't sound like me. That sounds.
Boys being bros, I think, right?
It was just
Didn't
boys
it?
being dudes.
Yeah.
You and your boys.
Just guys being dudes.
We're just
dude.
rocking a bro trip.
That's right,
There's
man.
nothing wrong if you rock or rip it. You can do both.
That's
So
right.
much wrong with what you're doing right now.
So there you go, the Tickle Your Tonsils region. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, learn funniest best next.
Want to see more of The Zone? Watch the show live on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch.
Hey, I'm Brian Sight.
And I'm Zachary Sight.
At the Bobside Auto Group, relationships come first, and that's guided how we do business for generations.
This March, our family is proud to continue more than 100 years of serving Kansas City and Lawrence, earning trust one customer at a time.
From Bobside Ford to Kia, Honda, and Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, we've grown with our communities while staying true to the values we started with: honesty, transparency, and respect.
And right now, it's Truck Month at Bobside Ford and Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, with 0% financing on F-150s and Ram 1500s.
At Bobside Honda, you'll also find great deals on new Hondas and a strong selection of cars and SUVs our customers rely on every day.
Plus, at Bobside Kia, every new Kia comes with lifetime oil changes and tire rotations. Real value that saves you money for as long as you own your vehicle.
Whether you're buying your first vehicle or trading up to a new truck or SUV, we focus on a smooth process with no pressure and no surprises.
Ford.
All right, hanging out with Mick Schaefer, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Let's get our Learn Funniest Best in from the weekend. What we learned from the weekend, funniest from the weekend, and best from the weekend. What I learned this weekend, with St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, a lot of the cities had St. Patrick's Day parades and things like that this past weekend. But what I learned was that many colleges, and I don't know that this is a Jim Abbott thing. It might be, and everybody might be like,
Are you about to say
everywhere.
fake Patty's Day?
No.
Oh, I was going to say.
Many colleges have a pre-St. Patrick's Day parade tradition called the Running of the Gingers.
I don't know about this.
And it was all over my timeline on Sunday where...
hey, did we get Gilbert?
Notre Dame.
Gildo?
Notre Dame, Queens College, Boston College, Michigan State, Delaware, all tweeting out their running of the gingers. The students line the streets, and it's a run. Well, the regular, our regular ones, the ones with soles, will line the streets, and then the gingers will run down the street as a parade in the official running of the gingers parade at all these different colleges, Boston College and Notre Dame and things like that. So that's what I learned, is that there's a running of the gingers at all these different colleges across the country.
And the last one is executed by a lion.
Yeah,
if you're the slowest,
right?
Kind of control the ginger population a little bit,
but
makes sense.
It's fine because it's the lion usually goes for souls, so then maybe it just runs right past them.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that happens. I'm not sure. That's what I learned. Sterling, you learned from the weekend.
Yeah, I learned that Queens is not New York.
I learned that one too.
In 1857 as
Kings.
the Charlotte Female Institute.
Oh, that makes sense.
A lot of these colleges were teacher colleges or female colleges, and then they grew beyond that.
Yeah.
So, it was Charlotte Female Institute, then it was Long Seminary, then Presbyterian College for Women, then Queens College.
Do you know how long they've been playing Division I basketball?
They've been playing D1 basketball since...
4 years?
November. 6 months. 5 months. This is their first year of D1.
They lifted
They're merging with
period
Elon.
of where you have to...
Well, this is the first year eligible.
Okay, yeah, first year eligible, I think.
But I thought I understand first year D1. I don't know if they do that.
They did the stupid probationary period, whatever you want to call it, to where you're transitioning. And for your own good, transitioning, you can't make the NCAA tournament. For your own good.
For your own good.
For your own good, you can't make the NCAA tournament, even if you win your conference tournament.
The
merger with Elon.
Yes, next year.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
will they have separate teams then still? Or
It'll
the
be
same,
Queens-Elon.
Well, they'll all get Teslas. That much we do know.
Queens-Elon.
Do you know Queen's nickname, the mascot?
They are the Royals.
The Queens Royals.
That makes sense.
And they have a kid from Blue Valley Southwest on the team.
Okay.
Wow.
I did not know that.
There we go.
There we go. Let's go Queens. Let's hope they knock off Purdue.
Yeah, you really want that to happen.
Well, if that happens, Miami will clearly win the second game.
Yes.
If Purdue loses, I may not even need to watch the Missouri and Miami game, because that thing is going to be a runaway for the Canes. That is obvious. What'd you learn this weekend, Mick?
I learned Michael J. Fox's middle name.
James.
Jay? John.
Do you have a guess?
I would guess James.
Andrew?
Jay?
Jason.
Andrew.
Wait, what?
It's Andrew.
Where's the J come from?
Well, I mean,
Just sounds
actors,
good.
they just figure stuff out. They're like, change whatever. But yeah, he is Michael Andrew Fox.
Michael J. Fox.
Oh, somebody's not believing me.
No, I believe you. I'm just like...
Oh, yeah, that's what typically would
Because Michael A. Fox was like, is this guy good looking?
Well,
is he a Fox? Like, is he this?
He didn't
is he
change
actual
anything.
Fox?
So, like, that's hilarious. His acting name is Michael J. Fox,
yes.
but his real name is Michael... It's like, this is going to fool people.
Well, Michael Keaton is Michael Douglas, but when he made it big, there was already Michael Douglas, so I'm like, I'm going to be Michael Keaton.
Charlie Sheen is Carlos Estevez, the closer for the Royals.
Yeah. He was a
But,
closer
like,
in real life and a
he
closer in
didn't
the big leagues.
change anything. He just
Wild
changed
thing.
his...
Do you not understand what people do with their acting names?
But a
lot of them don't have the...
No, I get it, but like it makes sense if you change your first or your last
they
name.
don't change their names usually. They just go by something else on screen. They don't go to the courthouse and be like, I
no,
got to change.
I get that, but
I feel like you don't.
I feel like
He's
you
just
should
changing
switch it more. Yes,
the initial of his middle name. I think
correct.
Because it's
that's
less
not even his real middle
but
name.
it's less confusing, because if it's like Michael A. Fox, it's like, okay, is Michael a good-looking dude? Is he like an animal? Who is Michael A. Fox? Michael J. Fox, this must be an actor. This is a real human person that's coming in to try to win this role. So, yeah.
And
I
then
would say
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan.
Somebody is Jordan.
Somebody said last night, if there's a young up and coming actor named LeBron B. James, then we're gonna have a serious discussion here in a few years.
Oh man.
Yeah, Michael Andrew Fox.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. John Andrew Kennedy as well.
Pretty good.
F.
Seriously?
No.
Okay.
What did you learn from this weekend, Michael?
Got me.
So last week, Bam Adebayo broke
Fitzgerald.
the point scoring, or he beat Kobe's record, but the math came out.
Finishing second isn't a record, but that's fine.
The math came out on how improbable it was. His 83-point career game was 8.5 standard deviations above his career average, or 1 in 53 quadrillion. But more importantly, he based it on what it would be like for other players in their sports to put up stats.
Okay.
It would be like if Patrick Mahomes threw for 915 yards in a game,
Okay.
Justin Verlander throwing 214 pitches in a start, or Wilt Chamberlain grabbing 79 rebounds in a game.
I can see that.
That seems the most realistic.
Yes, I can see that one.
Yeah.
But see, here's the thing, though. What
Quadrillion? That seems like pretty high.
But what makes Bam all the more improbable is that what he averages per game.
Yeah.
See, to me, it would
outliers.
It would be like it'd be Sam. Well, no, Sam Darnold had Jackson Smith and Jigba. Bo Nix throwing for 650 yards in a game. It's like, well, this guy averages like 210 per game, and now he's throwing for that. Or Mark Andrews having a 380-yard receiving game. That's what I would like. Mark Andrews breaking the record for most receiving yards in a game.
I might put it at Mark Andrews like 500 yards. Because guys, 300-yard games are.
But
you
for
see
a
them all
guy
the
that
time.
averages like 40 yards per
but
game.
he's in a position to do it. But yeah, I mean, 83 was.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like getting struck by lightning, 3 times?
Yeah,
or once.
an hour.
Yeah. What's the funniest from the weekend for you?
There's a guy who's running for mayor or for governor of Alabama, and he's going to sign 20 executive orders if he gets elected. Here are some of his orders. Legalize and tax marijuana, eliminate state tax on groceries, legalize and tax the lottery, restore law and order, legalize sex stores, bring prayer back in school.
Okay, those
were back to back, too.
Those two go together. But not bring prayer in the stores and bring that not in schools. You want to make sure those are separated.
Invest in Alabama business, make Montgomery a strip club city.
Yep.
Raise minimum wage, support our veterans. I just thought that the random 2 in there, which
a couple
were,
of those, they don't usually jive.
They put legalized sex stores right next to bring prayer back in school.
Listen, he wants to have a Saturday night and then get forgiven Sunday morning.
Make Montgomery a strip club city.
Have you ever met somebody with a split personality that's right wing and left wing? There he is, right there. The guys are fighting. No, strip clubs. He's like, that's prayer in school.
Best of both worlds.
No tax on tips. Prayer.
Honestly, I respect it. He was along the lines of like, hey, I don't do it, but I'm not going to judge you for it. I was like, you know what? I'd vote for this guy.
A lot of those things are great. Yeah, let's go for it.
Make Montgomery a strip club city. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? I don't even know how that happens.
Making tax money. You're making that.
But how do you make it a strip club city? Like just instead of like
Maybe
light
they're
poles,
banned
they're
there.
just
Maybe they're banned
the
there.
light poles now become like stripper poles.
Oh yeah,
right.
They could do that. Yeah.
I'd probably do it indoors, but whatever.
I mean, you know what?
Well,
each
it
their
wouldn't be
own,
a strip
you know what I
club
mean?
city. That'd just be a strip club.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm saying, I bet they don't have strip clubs now.
Oh, you know what it would be? It'd be like the TV show Paradise, where you would just put a big old dome over that city, and it would just
Truman
be
Show. Sure,
or Truman Show. But Truman Show, there was stuff outside of it too. I guess that's what it would be. Yeah, because Paradise, there's stuff outside
You know what?
too.
That would be Take Me Down to the Paradise City.
Right, the
where
strip
the
club
grass
city.
is green and there's stripper poles all over the city.
But the girls are pretty too. That could be.
You just rhyme city with city. So
Yeah, that's true.
Work on that a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, pretty and city.
What else
The
rhymes with
strippers
city?
are pretty. The strippers are pretty.
I don't know if that
In
rhymes.
the actual song, he says pretty.
Does that really work?
I would think so.
Yeah.
Usually that's
Works
when you go
perfectly.
to find
Okay.
that. Funniest from the weekend for you?
This
Nick
is from
Schaefer?
last week, but was it McDuffie last Monday that I had to punt and all that? Is Kelsey as well? I think all that stuff was happening.
Sure.
So I wasn't on with you.
Yeah,
guys
that's
last
right,
week.
that's
so
right.
this was following Lou Holtz's passing, and a quote I'd never heard of, but I've used 20 times since. He said, "Your wife is not your best friend. Your dog is your best friend. Lock them both in a trunk. Come back 2 hours later. Who's happy to see you?" Truer words, Lou Holtz. Truer words. Rest in peace.
So did you try it over the weekend?
Yes, absolutely. Well, Not yet. My dog. I don't have a dog.
But my wife was definitely not.
But
happy.
she's in there now. She's in there now.
Yeah.
So when we get a dog, well,
half of the experiment has been
Yes.
taking place.
Yes.
The other half I'm going to figure out once I get a dog.
Yes.
That's a great line. That's a great line. And
Great
true.
line.
Absolutely
So
true.
true.
Jason, you can try it now.
No, probably not going to do that.
You do have a dog and a wife.
Yes, I've got both of them, but I'm not going to do that.
Kids will be like, yeah, let's try it. Let's go. So your kid there with a timer. Like, it's been an hour and a half.
It's been an hour and a half, Daddy.
30 more minutes.
We stopped hearing the banging like 30 minutes ago.
Let's go get some Waffle House.
Funniest for you from the weekend, Michael?
After St. John's won the Big East, Rick Pitino was drinking an ice cold beer in his press conference. So that's my funniest.
Yeah, I like that. There you go. My funniest from the weekend is the Miami Dolphins cap. Do you know who the five largest cap hits for the Miami Dolphins this year?
Tua Tagovailoa.
Tua's dead cap hit.
Tyreek Hill.
Bradley Chubb's dead cap hit. Tyreek Hill's dead cap hit. Jalen Ramsey's dead cap hit.
Jalen Phillips?
Mika Fitzpatrick's dead cap hit. The 5 biggest cap hits for the Miami Dolphins are all dead cap hits for players that aren't on their
They're all
team
dead.
anymore.
Wow.
They are all dead.
Dead.
Cap. This guy's
hits
dead.
are-
Mark him off the list. Do you really have to take that cap hit if the guy's dead? I wouldn't think so, but the rules are rules. You know what I mean? Mick Schaefer, the best from the weekend for you.
Quick Trip tweeting out last night, tweets about the Oscars, but I run a gas station Twitter account, and under it, he said, sinners, one of the Oscar movies, sinners, yeah, they're called people that go to Casey's. One battle after another. A story about me keeping breakfast pizza on the warmer during the morning rush. Begonia, more like, you got a bug on you. Windshield here. Let me squeegee that off.
That was a reach. That was a
tough
reach.
one though. Hamnet. I'll do the egg and cheese croissant, but you can put some ham in it.
Okay, good
And
try.
Train Dreams. I've never even heard of this movie. I haven't heard of half of it. Whatever.
Yeah.
You live in the Midwest, and everything is a 2 to 4 hour drive from your house. It was best with Sinners. It was really
Yeah,
good.
Sinners was good.
Sinners
That was good. I thought maybe there was going to be like Casey's quote tweeted it and offered another movie. That would have been
might
pretty
have.
good.
That would have been good.
That would have been good if they would have just gone back and forth with different movies
No,
or actors.
nobody's-
But that's
Casey's
good. I like
can't
that
hang
one.
with Q2. They can't do it.
I don't know. Beats the can. Michael, the best from the weekend for you.
It's got to be this call after Team Italy won.
Yeah, gotta be.
Weissert un'occhiata in seconda, caricamento, batte Rosario, alza una volata,
dentro,
adesso Morabito, sì! L'Italia vola a Miami, l'Italia è in semifinale al World Baseball Classic, è tutto vero Italia!
Just electric. Just electric.
Great stuff, man. They will play tonight. The Royals Baseball Classic gets underway tonight.
Harsh graders, though. They're only giving him a C.
Yes.
Are there sports radio stations in other countries that are like, listen to this call from the American Joe Davis? Here's Joe Bob. Right there was
and yes, they can.
yes, Bob Costas.
I recognize
It's
that
so
word.
Good. It's so good.
I recognize yes. He said yes about something, and then he said Royals.
Yes.
Royals. He said that one. My best from the weekend is actually today, and it's my lovely wife's birthday today.
So that's why you didn't want to put her in a
That's right.
trunk.
Not today.
Okay,
Tomorrow. Turning 25 today. So happy
Oh.
birthday to my lovely bride.
Happy birthday,
And,
Cassandra.
Her birthday. Yep. Almost. So close. So close.
Tomorrow you go in the trunk, but today you get cake.
It's odd.
Today
It's
is in the
odd.
front seat.
It's random. So yes, best from the weekend and today. Best for you, Sterling, huh?
Yeah.
You got any more jokes over there? Huh? Any more ha-has?
Yeah, music bingo last night was, or on Saturday night was electric, dude. Music bingo absolutely slaps. Music bingo trivia, great
Where
time.
you played it?
Brookridge. It was a
Nice.
great time. We had it and had some fun.
Sounds fun.
It was 80s and 90s, so we had some, Color Me Bad was
Oh,
being
yeah.
played. Some Paula Abdul
Right.
was being out. Some White Snake. It was nice.
Dressed like a cat.
Yeah.
Was it that song?
Yeah. Opposites Attract. Yeah.
And Dressed Like a Cat. We'll take a time out, come back, wrap up this show hour next. All right, wrapping up the show. What happened today? Chiefs traded for Justin Fields, backup quarterback now for the Chiefs, 6th rounder in the 2027 draft. Chiefs will take on $3 million for Justin Fields' contract. That is the backup quarterback now for the Chiefs.
Fields is set for the
right?
March Madness bracket of sound.
That's exactly right.
It is.
And also, shout out to Mizzou making the round of 33.
I said it last night.
They
Most
did it.
likely they'll be the round of 33. One of the last 33 teams remaining.
100%. So shout out Dennis Gates making the round of 33.
Shout out
this year.
UConn playing a 10 o'clock Eastern game in Philly.
Is that
They tip off at 10.
Eastern or Pacific time?
Well, have I said Pacific?
I'm pretty sure you said Eastern.
Twice.
Yeah.
I said also
AM
Philly.
Can you be more
I said
Pacific?
Philly, yeah.
AM or PM?
Central.
Oh, I didn't hear that
Nope.
part.